And then finally, we will look at our approach to delivering ACCA lectures at Ivy League. And then we can take your questions. Because this session is so packed with so many activities, and we have a pretty short period of time to carry it out, I will plead with you to take note of your questions, as I'm going to have to take them towards the end of the presentation. Sorry, towards the end of each section of the content that we have here. All right. Again, as I said, for those joining us for the first time, Ivy League is a leading ACCA tuition provider in Africa, obviously based in Nigeria, a platinum ALP. And platinum ALP certainly carries a lot of responsibilities that comes with it. First is ensuring that the institution meets certain standards in terms of its administration, its processes, and how tuition is delivered. And second is ensuring that the institution meets certain tuition quality standards, including pass rates within the school. So having the designation clearly signals that the school, Ivy League, is able to meet those standards over time. But then in addition, this is our 10th year, just over 10 years now, of providing tuition for ACCA. And that also signals the experience that we have gathered over time and improvements that have been made over time. You know, if I look back when we started 2013 and look at what our lectures are like now, clearly there have been significant volumes of improvements in various areas. But then in addition to ACCA qualification tuition, we also provide lectures for ACCA Diploma in IFRS and Oxford Brookes project mentorship. We are employers' choice when it comes to training their students. We currently work with the Big Four firm, for example, and a couple of other employers who directly signpost their students to us to train them as part of qualification requirements within their business. We have several tutors with lots of years of experience in teaching ACCA. And these are some of our senior tutors. And at the same time, we ensure we keep the pipeline fresh. We continually look for talent practically every year because it's not just about having the qualification, the technical competence to deliver lecture, but also the skill and the passion to see your students succeed. I think that's one thing that stands us out at Ivy League. We're driven by our purpose of ensuring that we empower people, empower professionals through professional education and the larger economic outcomes of that. So in terms of the ACCA qualification, clearly it's a qualification that allows various entry points. So regardless of whether you, for example, have your WAEC exams or results with 5 credits, including maths and English, or you're even still in secondary school, still about to have WAEC results, or you are a graduate or an undergraduate, there are various points through which you can start the ACCA journey. At Ivy League, we provide tuition for the foundation levels, which is also the knowledge level at the qualification level. So the foundation route normally implies that with your WAEC results, 5 credits including maths and English, for example, you can commence by writing 3 papers. So even without a university qualification, you can start the foundation level, write 3 papers, and once you pass those 3 papers, it's equivalent to passing the applied knowledge papers within the ACCA qualification. So that's the next column you have on the diagram. Alternatively, if you are already a graduate of a non-relevant degree, for example, maybe in non-accounting undergraduate course or graduate course, then you start with applied knowledge. Subject to the nature of the course you study in the university, you can get an exemption from some of these papers. On completion of the 3 papers, which are actually written via computer-based exams, which means you can practically write the exam anytime because it's available on demand. So on completion of those 3 papers, either the questions, keep them coming, all of these questions will be addressed soon when we get into the question and answer. Okay, so I was just interrupted by someone. I think I clarified that when we started. So if you've got a question, just raise your hand. When we get to the end of each part of our presentation, we will take your questions. And then when we get to the end, we'll take all other questions, okay? But for now, if you have a question, take note of it, raise your hand, because we will follow the queue on the platform Teams. Now, on completion of the knowledge papers, we move to the skills level. The skills level consists of 6 papers. Again, if a candidate has a BSc, for example, in accounting, you will be exempted from knowledge papers and even potentially some skill papers, sometimes dependent on the university where the candidate studied. Completion of knowledge papers entitles the candidates to a diploma in accounting and business, and also entitles you to write your Oxford Brookes BSc in Applied Accounting project. Typically, you would have indicated interest before you write financial reporting, audit and assurance, or financial management. That's typically the case. And your grade will be dependent on your score in the selected ACCA papers plus the projects. More about that will be mentioned when we get to the session on the BSc degree. On completion of applied skills, students are encouraged to complete the ethics and professional skills module, which I will talk about on my next slide. And then you move to the strategic professional level, where there are 4 papers that candidates are to write, 2 mandatory papers and 2 optional papers out of 4, 2 compulsory papers out of 4 options. On completion of these 4 papers, students are also entitled, or I call it, have the option of obtaining a master's degree from the University of London, and that's the Masters in Professional Accountancy. Several ACCA former students or now affiliates or members I've definitely obtained the benefit of the BSc and also the MSc provided by University of London, which is a highly regarded university in the UK. An example of a student we had in the recent past was David, who started his ACCA exams at the age of 17. Actually, it's 16 plus, but we just was much closer to 17, right? And did the foundation level, finished it up within 4 months, wrote a CBA exam at our center, completed the 6 ACCA papers at the skills level within 12 months, and then professional level within 10 months. Obviously, he was young, totally focused on his exams. And by the age of 19, he was done and was a qualified ACCA member. And then obviously after that, he had to deal with the practical experience requirements. So young or old, ACCA is a dream that can come true at any time. And I'm particularly interested in seeing, younger people, whether you're thinking about entering the university just out of secondary school, getting into this. We have both full-time classes, which happens during the week, and we also have weekend classes. Now, you would recall that I mentioned that after the skills level, students are encouraged to do the ethics and professional skills module. That's important for several reasons, one of which is typically you will need it to do your Oxford Brookes degree, and then you would also need it as part of one of the professional level papers. In fact, most of the professional papers, level papers you'll be writing, because the skills you gain from it will be essential to passing those papers. But also beyond that, it's impossible to be a member of ACCA without having signed off your ethics and professional skills module. So what is it? It's pretty much an online learning. So it's an online mandatory learning. It takes about 15 hours to complete. It tells you about the ethical and professional behaviors that you will need in real life when working in your professional life most times. And it offers a spectrum of professional and digital skills needed in today's business world. It's highly enriching, I must say, and it will help you, in learning some of the things you will need for your strategic professional papers. Again, as I said, it's not an exam, it's an online mandatory learning. You pay a token for it, and then at the end of the session, the learning, there are a couple of questions you will need to answer and pass. You can redo that test as often as you will need to pass it, but it's not part of your ACCA grades. Generally, to become a member of ACCA, so once you finish your exams, you are regarded as an affiliate. But then you need to ensure you've completed your ethics and professional skills module, and then also the experience requirements to become a member. So that is why we say 3 E's are required to become a member of ACCA. The exams must be completed. The ethics and professional module must be completed, and the practical experience requirements must be completed. Typically, this cuts across about 5 phases. You gain the relevant experience. Your relevant experience can be gained before you started ACCA, during your ACCA exams, and after your ACCA exams. They all add up. And when we say relevant experience, we are talking about experience that enables you to sign off certain performance objectives. But before you can think of targeting and signing off performance objectives, as you can see on the third bullet, you need to find a workplace supervisor. The workplace supervisor is effectively the person that can confirm that you have achieved the objectives that you want to sign off on, and truly your work reflects those objectives. So for example, if the objective I want to sign off on is leadership, my workplace supervisor will confirm that, for example, I manage a team, I lead a team, whether it's at the senior level, at the middle management level, junior management level, as long as you can demonstrate that you lead and manage a team and the performance objectives that are underneath that. Once you have had the conversation with your workplace supervisor, who typically would have a link sent to them where they can do the sign off, you then have to target and achieve certain performance objectives within a period of 3 years. Sorry, when I use the word within a period of 3 years, I mean cumulatively 36 months. Yeah. So the 36 months could be before you started the ACCA exam. It could be in addition to the experience you gathered during your exams, and even the experience you're gathering after your exams. It could be in different organizations. The workplace supervisor typically needs to be a member of ACCA or an IFAC recognized professional accounting body, e.g. ICANN. But obviously there could be challenges with that for some people working in certain organizations, and there are guidance on what you can do. Performance objectives include the essential objectives and the optional objectives, of which you have several options and you have to select out of. I think we have about 4 mandatory performance objectives and about 5 optional ones or so. So for example, there are performance objectives related to auditing. There are performance objectives related to taxation if you work in a tax unit. There are performance objectives related to management accounting, related to digital skills and things like that. So you would have to target the one that you believe you can sign off within or based on the work that you do. So once you sign off 9 performance objectives, and this is also done over a 36 months period, you have to record this within the PER section on my ACCA and get it signed off by your supervisor. On completion of these performance objectives, necessary signing off, and 36 months experience, which you could have even gathered before you started ACCA, depends on your background, you then can apply for membership and then obviously get your membership signed off by ACCA. The next section we want to move on to now are other related qualifications. And at this point, I would want Olumide to talk to us on diploma in IFRS. Olumide, over to you.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Sheyi, for that introduction and our presentation so far. I welcome everybody once again to this open day session of Ivy League today, and I believe it's going to be more impactful. So, yeah, to cut the long story short, the other related qualification we want to talk about, which is part of the Ivy League offering, is diploma in IFRS. So it's just to give a brief information on how you can opt in for this if you are interested or it suits your career needs. Okay, so as we all know, diploma in IFRS is the reporting standard used for corporate reporting at international level. And it's a standard accepted in many countries, but over more than 100 countries in the whole world. So it's really a good one. So then who is it for? It's actually for any professional accountant who is a member of a professional body that is a member of IFAC, or any other professionals, finance professionals who may be interested in learning more about international financial reporting. Okay, so what are the other basic information you need to know? Please help me go to the next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, as we can see, in terms of how the program works, it's a 3 hours tested exam, that's computer-based exams, administered in June and December. And this certification will be awarded after passing the exam, and the minimum pass mark is 50%. And for you to register, if you are not registered before, a new applicant, you will need to pay a one-off fee of 36 pounds. And for June 2023 exam session, you must be registered before 10 April 2023. So it's something that has to be done early enough. So having successfully registered, please can you be on mute, please? Having successfully registered, you then need to book for the exam itself. And for June 2023 exam entry, you will need to pay an exam fee, though that is yet to be communicated or updated on the ACCA website. But just to have a fair idea of how what the cost might likely be, for the last December 2022 exam, £129 was charged. So, but the fee for June diet is yet to be updated, or perhaps it might stay at that. Not sure, but we may be on the look for it. That's why we'll update later accordingly. Then the next thing is the exam sessions, like I mentioned earlier, takes place in June and December. For the next exam entry, which is June, the dates will be communicated as well on the ACCA website later. So typically it's usually a 2 days that will be provided, and you have the option of choosing which date you will prefer. So that's basically all about diploma in IFRS. For you to get more, you will do well to contact or reach out to our admin team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Olumide. All right, the next point we have here is our Oxford Brookes University BSc in Applied Accounting program. So clearly, I believe, is Tutu around? Okay, so I think we have. Hello?
She's not on the call.
Okay, all right. So I believe so the Oxford Brookes BSc program is an initiative that started several years ago, probably close to 15 years now, since the ACCA has been working with Oxford Brookes University in the UK. The essence of this is to have as much as possible from your ACCA qualification. And as I said earlier, typically you would have to enroll as part of your registration with ACCA. If you did not indicate interest at the time of registering, you can still indicate interest in wanting to earn the BSc before you write certain skills level papers, particularly the last 3. What is required to earn the degree? Nothing extraordinary. So typically, you have to pass your ACCA papers. The average score from your ACCA papers, particularly skills level papers that you have written, would influence your degree classification, in addition to the project and the skill and learning statements. The skill and learning statement and the project is a specialized research work based on available topics that you have selected, and you will do this under the supervision of a registered and approved mentor. So the Oxford Brookes University have identified and certified people around the world, which includes some of our tutors who are also OBU mentors, who will ensure that they provide the necessary guidance as you progress with your project. There are fees for the OBU exams, OBU projects that you would have to write, and the skill and learning statement. The skill and learning statement is just an additional piece of work where you reflect on the skills that you have gained while writing your project. Whether it's communication skills, because you are required to make a presentation to your mentor, or whether it's research skills or questioning skills and things like that. Ivy League would also charge you a fee for mentorship. I believe that's about 75,000. I think there's someone that is not on mute. And typically it takes about 4 months to indicate interest in wanting to write the project, and also putting your research together and submitting a good piece of work. Typically, as I've said, you can only submit a project after you have completed your skills level papers and you have also done your ethics and professional skills module. Now, the question obviously is, why should I enroll for OBU mentorship at Ivy League? There are various reasons. One is the fact that we have a dedicated induction day for OBU. So I may not have given you all the information you need now, and I know some of you may have questions, but the good thing is we have our OBU induction date, which will happen, I think it's later this month or early next month. Manager, do you have the exact date for OBU induction?
So, 11th of February.
11th of February, okay. Thank you. So during that session, we will be focusing specifically and exclusively on OBU. Kindly mute your mic, please. And then you can also ask any questions you have about how to proceed. I think projects are usually submitted in May and November. We also have feedback session per chapter. So there are various sections of the project where you will typically meet with your mentor at the end of each section, who would give you additional guidance on what you can improve, what the examiners often look out for. And these are mentors that have done it for years. And so they've got the practical experience on guiding our students. And because of diversity of mentors we have, we are also able to provide guidance needed regardless of the project topic that you select. We'll also help you with plagiarism check, which obviously you can do on your own, but some students often need guidance on this area because you want to ensure you don't fail the plagiarism test. But there will be active engagement throughout the process as you will be allocated with a dedicated mentor for the specific topic you have indicated interest in as at the time you are registering. And finally, on completion of your project, when it's ready for submission, we typically do an independent review. The objective is not to help you rewrite your project, but pretty much to ensure that you've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. And where there are areas where we can add value to and making sure that you pass and get a good grade, our mentors also do that as part of their review. At this point, I would like to hand over to Mr. Victor Ayola from ACCA Nigeria team, who will, within 15 minutes, talk to us about recent developments in the ACCA qualification. Victor, are you around?
So we may have to take Mr. Victor later. Let's say now that we should give him the next 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, that's fine. We will reschedule a session perhaps after the next session we're having. All right, so I think it is a good time to take a couple of questions before we move on to our guest session. And so please feel free to raise your hand if you've got questions for us. I can at this point take 2 or 3 questions, and then we'll continue with the other questions towards the end of our presentation. Omomi, you may want to take off your video. You may not know that your video is on. Okay, I see. Let me track the hands we have up here. Oh, Tim. Tim, go ahead, please.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Okay, so I have a question. Back in the days, ACCA used to have these additional set of qualifications they give while you're going through your journey. After the first 3 papers, that's the 3 foundation papers, you're awarded a diploma in accounting for business, if I'm correct. And then after the next 6 papers, you're awarded an advanced diploma in, I think, accounting for business. Do they still award those? Or that's no more in...
Yes, it is still available. So you're very correct. At the end of foundation papers or the knowledge equivalent, you have a certificate that you get for that, which to a large extent is highly vibrant, particularly for those who are part of the JACPA arrangement for certain countries. And then we have the diploma in accounting and business that you also get on completion of the skills level. But then obviously, getting the ACCA qualification on completion of professional level overrides all of that. But should you want to use these certificates as you progress with your ACCA, it's certainly available. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Kehinde Lawal, go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning. Thank you so much for the opening session so far. It's been really educative. Okay, so I have two questions. I would probably like to direct one of the questions to the guest speaker from ACCA Nigeria, probably when he joins the call later on. So I will just move to the second question. Okay, so the second question is that I want to ask, is there any form of scholarship at all, maybe from ACCA or from an external body? And if there is any, what are the yardsticks? What do someone need to do to access any form of such scholarship?
All right, thank you. I just want to pack the questions together. But that question is noted, and again, we will also perhaps ask ACCA once we have a green light on that. So I'll pack the questions. Can I take the question from Moses, and then after that, Rukewe?
Hi, good morning, Shay. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Yeah, so I wanted to confirm two things. First of all, the master's degree, is it master's in applied accounting, or are there other options? Then, secondly, is there an option for an MBA, or is it just master's?
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's noted. Rukewe, go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, please, I want to understand more about this OBU degree. I wanted to find out if it's something that is completely necessary for BSc holders in accounting.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. And then finally, Seth Daudu, go ahead. And I'm
Hi, everyone.
sorry
Good
if I
morning.
didn't pronounce your name properly.
It's okay, Shay. It's okay. Good morning, Shay.
Good morning.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I think I have two questions. The first question would be, because I have work, right? I have work,
Yeah.
and so I'll be able to attend those weekend classes. I'd like to ask for, the timing, because the sooner I know, the better I can make plans towards my weekends and all that.
Yeah.
And I think my second question would be, I think this is relatively different, because I do not have, I do not have like necessarily an accounting background,
Yeah.
but I work. I work somewhere, where we do auditing and stuff like that. So the question is, how tough should I expect this to be for me? And I'm not saying that I don't intend for, I do intend, and please pardon my voice, I kind of have the cold, I have a flu, but yes, how tough should I expect this to be? Because I'm both excited and anxious at the same time. So,
Yeah. All right. Thank you. We're going to have to, I see more hands raised. Keep them raised, please. But we will have to take the other questions during the next section because of our time as well. But I'll quickly answer the ones that I've gotten so far. So first off is on scholarship. So at Ivy League, please watch out for our announcements on scholarship for tuition. So we typically give scholarship to about 10 students in a year who are able to take any number of papers they want to take free of charge. And sometimes it's at a heavy discount, such as a 50% off, the cost of taking those papers. And this year we'll certainly be doing the same thing. Standard lectures should start next week, Saturday, while intensive classes have started today. So during the week, we will be announcing slots for application for scholarship, and you can please watch out for that and apply if you meet the criteria. Does ACCA also give scholarships? Well, scholarships and incentives, I would probably say that exist, but I will reserve that to the ACCA team once they join the call to provide more clarity on that. Is this a master's in what? And is there MBA option? This is master's in professional accountancy. Okay, professional accountancy, and that's from University of London. But the BSc is in applied accounting from Oxford Brookes University. So there are two different designations, two different universities, two different award. Is there an MBA option? Oh yes, there are several schools in the UK that provide you with an avenue to earn an MBA, claiming exemptions from some of their modules based on your ACCA qualification. So we see several students who also, and even if it's not a master's in accountancy that you want, if it's a master's in finance, there are several universities in the UK that will look at your ACCA qualification and say, out of X number of modules that you're supposed to do for your MBA, you're able to get exemptions from a couple of those modules in that regard. Then OBU, do I need the BSc if I already have a BSc in Nigeria? To be honest, that's your choice. Typically, I would advise, it takes nothing away from you. It's just an add-on for you, and you can consider it. But to be honest, once you have a BSc and you have a good degree classification that is good for you, then it then becomes a thing of choice. And remember, you can do your Oxford Brookes project even after your ACCA qualification. So you don't have to do it while you're also writing your professional level exams, especially if it's not too pressing for you. Then timing of classes. Yes, we are going to be talking about our approach to tuition delivery, and we will definitely indicate that. But just a head up, our classes are on Saturdays and Sundays. There are face-to-face classes, there are online classes. Classes are predominantly online for all ACCA papers, but there are selected papers that also happen face-to-face. West Africa or Nigerian time, it's 8 a.m. on Saturdays for the first set of papers, and that stops by 12 p.m. And then the second stream of papers commence by 1 p.m. and stop by 5 p.m. For Sundays, lectures typically start 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the first stream of papers, and from 2:30 to 6:30 for the second stream of papers. So at the end of the day, it depends on the number of papers you're taking. If you're taking 2 papers and they are on Saturdays, then you don't have lectures on Sundays. We do indeed see students taking advantage of that. Out of visits, it's challenging. ACCA is challenging, particularly as you progress through it. And obviously there are several people that have, completed the journey. Will require some sacrifices, particularly at the initial stage. And of course, you would agree with me that it won't be an exciting journey if it's not challenging. And the qualification or designation will not be as respected as it is if it is not challenging to complete the exams. But then obviously more details around this will be provided in specific classes and for specific papers. All right. So as I said, we'll take more questions, as we progress. At this point, I would like to quickly confirm whether Tom Isibo is around, and if so, we can have a session now. Tom, are you around? Brilliant. Okay. Nice to have you around. By way of introduction, Tom is the current head of ACCA in Nigeria, a highly driven person who has ensured that the ACCA brand in Nigeria remains highly vibrant and recognized by employers sought after in that regard. So we've invited him here to have a few words with us, particularly on why the ACCA remains a very vibrant qualification that you should pursue, regardless of any current economic challenges or realities that we may be facing, not only in Nigeria, but around the world. So Tom, over to you, sir.
Happy New Year. It's been a while. It's been a while we spoke, and thanks a lot for inviting me. I honestly feel privileged being invited to this session because it gives me an opportunity to interact as well. And I trust you are keeping well. And I'd like to say Happy New Year and thanks to everyone on the call as well. It's a real pleasure to be in your midst, and thank you for sacrificing your Saturday morning and being quick off the mark in the year. You know, back in the days, every year, motivational speakers and people with better knowledge always encourage, make a New Year resolution. What are you going to achieve this year? Try and limit it to 3 to 5 items so that it's impactful and you can actually achieve it. And having you on this call this morning just shows that you guys are early birds and you take your career very seriously. So thank you for joining the call. And we do hope that we will meet your expectations in terms of your inquiries and what you want to know about ACCA. Just a couple of comments from me, really. This is not really a presentation, but a talk. First, I believe very strongly, totally, absolutely, that you've made the right choice by taking ACCA. And not just because I'm the country head and it's expected of me to say that, but because it is the truth, to be honest. Because if I put myself in your shoes or in the shoes of an aspiring finance professional or an aspiring accountant and looking like, what is your driver? Why do you want to get certified? Why do you want to get professional qualification? There's been diverse answers from the past, from our research and our engagement, from you, from aspiring members. And I think the one that tops the list really is about, improving yourself, giving yourself that edge to make sure that you have a comparative advantage over your peers, over your colleagues in your workplace. Second part that also comes up is around employability. I want a qualification that will help my employability, help me get noticed faster, and help me notice again above my peers. And of course, there's also the prestige element of why you've chosen to be an accountant or why you've chosen to be a finance professional, the prestige of the profession, and of course, the opportunities that it also gives you. But we all know that with the coming or with the disruption that has come with COVID, the way we see work and the way we work and the work of the future have all changed. What employers are looking for has also changed. So employers want skills that are relevant, skills that will ensure that organization is more agile, more flexible. And the question will be, okay, so how will the ACCA qualification also help me ensure that I am preferred by employers? Now, for you to have chosen, to be on this platform, I'm sure you've done your due diligence. You've done a couple of, back end research, because there are options that you could have chosen from, but you decided to be here, perhaps even to get more information to, help you make an informed decision. The thing I can tell you why ACCA is, of course, should be your choice, or that you are in the right place, is one. First, without meaning to really blow my trumpet, but it's good to blow your trumpet too, because nobody else will help you to blow it. So when you have the opportunity, please do blow your trumpet. But the ACCA qualification has a very strong rigor, and we are continuously innovating and renovating on the qualification. And what do I mean by this? Is that on a continuum, we constantly interact with employers and with very senior members who tell us what the requirement in the workplace is, what employers' requirements are, what sort of skill set they're looking for. And we ensure that with that feedback, we impute some of these elements into our qualification. So for an example, we're looking at big data, data analytics as a very important element of being an accountant, being a manager, being a business leader. And we ensure that this in some ways is formed in our qualification. Um, you know, 3, 4 years ago, there was an exercise we did, just looking at the world, and we are playing some war scenarios, looking at opportunities around the world. And we had two scenarios. We had the closed world scenario and the open world scenario. And, some 2 years ago, it looked like the closed world scenario was winning. And the closed world scenario was around rising nationalism, especially during, in America, like the weakness, America first. And there was a lot of, focus on country, so high rise in nationalism. But then there was also increase in social entrepreneurs, and there was also increase in the use of social media. There was also increase in using platforms as well, and this cut across borders. That was a second scenario that we built, which is the open world scenario. And you all agree with me that the open world scenario is thumping the closed world scenario. And what I mean by this is labor has to be mobile. Any labor that is not mobile or skill set that also not transferable, it's not going to do well in this climate. And ACCA is a global body, and it ensures, and we are proud to say we have members who are working and living in 173 countries. As we say in Nigeria, Jakpa, Sakpa, Mukba, and all the pass, our qualification gives you a platform to achieve that. And not just to achieve that, but as a second citizen in any country you go to, ACCA qualification in Nigeria, in UK, in Greenland, in Iceland, in Mongolia is one qualification. It is recognized as you are an ACCA member and you have an ACCA qualification. So it's not discriminated against. So in terms of global mobility, it enhances opportunity for you to do that. But I think most important that I find very exciting in ACCA is the content or the continuous development opportunities that you have. And I do pray that some of you that are already students, some of you that are potential students, that you do interact with our student platforms. It's an amazement the amount of time, investment, and resources we put in ensuring that our members and our future members are engaged, are developing, and get the right and updated information on global trends and happenings on how what is expected of you, the skill set that's expected of you to have to be the best in class. There is what we designed that we call it career navigators, basically helping you to chart how you can start from ground zero and get to the top of the pyramid of your career. Those are the sort of investment that we make as an organization to ensure that you are preferred by employers, you can be the best of yourself, and then you can be in demand in any country of your choice. Um, I know I do have a time leash. So I don't want Shei's baritone voice to come and, kindly tell me to stop. So at this point, I'll just like to mute and say thank you for listening. And of course, I believe thank you for inviting me. But I just want to show you, everyone on this call, that I heard a lot of questions around Oxford Brookes. And I also heard a lot of questions around, other qualification as well. Oxford Brook is one of the spin-off or benefits you also get from for coming on the qualification. Of course, we also have University of London that you can get a master's from upon completing your ACC qualification. And we have partnerships around the world as well with other professional accountancy organization that helps you in settling down in whatever country that you find yourself. So on that note, I just say thank you, Shei, and everyone for listening. And I'll hand back to you, Shei. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. I know there may be one or two questions for you, and I want to just take them while you are around, because I know you are a busy man. So we will maximize the benefits. So there was a question earlier asking if there are scholarship opportunities for ACCA students. If you are aware of one or two of such opportunities, we would like you to please help address that. And then maybe I can open the floor for anyone who has a pressing question for ACCA. Emmanuel, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Emmanuel. Sorry, Emmanuel, we can't seem to hear you. Ruka, where is your question for ACCA? Okay.
Hi,
We have
I
several.
don't know if Emanuela you were calling or Emmanuel.
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't see the full name. So, Emanuela, go ahead, please.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My
Good
question
morning.
is regarding the annual subscription. I want to know if students can actually write exams even before paying the annual subscription.
Okay. All right. That's noted. One more question. Yusuf Said, do you want to go ahead?
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Tom.
Hi, good
It's my
morning.
pleasure.
Good morning to you.
It's my
Same here.
pleasure meeting you and speaking to you, listening to you for the first time. But my question
Same
is
likewise.
so challenging. And the question has to do with exchange rates because most of the students try to write to ACCA in the aspect of the exchange rates. It is so high based on what is it Tiacon or whatever we are paying to send to us. Believe- Hello, hello.
Yeah. I can hear you, but there's some noise in the background.
Okay. Is it clear now? We believe this is a professional
It
body,
is.
and
Mhm.
whatever we are doing in a professional body, based on what we were taught, that we should put in ethics and professionalism. So if the country has a standard exchange rate, I don't see reason why there should be huge disparity between the country's standard and legal exchange rates to that of what the either is ACCA Nigeria partner or whatever the SIACON, to that of what they are charging. Please, we are appealing. We know the level in the country for ACCA Nigeria to help us look into this. It's alarming. And my question is, how soon, sir, do you think ACCA Nigeria can look into this? Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for the question. I can see how passionate you are about it, and I would have been surprised if I didn't get a question on exchange rate.
I would have been shocked.
All right, so Tom, we've got three questions there, so I think I should allow you to take them. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Shay. Let me start with the last one, and is the pleasure of meeting virtually is also likewise, and I think the last one is probably the big elephant in the room, and I'm sure you're speaking for everyone on the call as well. I was in Abuja for a member mixer in December, and even with members, exchange rate does pop up as a challenge. And I do feel as a Nigerian for that, to be honest, because I live here. Um, I go to the market here and I keep my home here as well. So I know the bite we're all going through. When you have to go to the market and buy things every week, you find prices are on the increase. So I do feel your pains. But one thing I just want to be very clear about is like ACC is non-for-profit. We need to establish that first, that our motive in ACC is not profit, but developing the profession and being a force for public good. Yeah. So the increases you see or the exchange rate disparity you see is not the making of ACCA. I can assure you, if you can help me, say, and you tell me now, Tom, you know what? Charge the the CBN rate or the official rate to members and non-members. And then when you charge that, the money's in your account, I will help you repatriate it back to your to the central purse in the UK at that official rate. If you can do that for me, I can assure you that let me say I'll use 1 week to get all the necessary approvals. By the 16th or 17th of January, I can tell you we'll bring it to that official rate. If you can give me that written guarantee that if we charge official rate, CBN rate, because the money is not meant to be domiciled in Nigeria account. Okay. But if you assure me that if you charge that rate, you can help us move it out. So our central account at that official rate, I can guarantee you we can reverse its official rate by the 17th of January. And I'm just putting that on the table for anyone who can help us as well. Look, the truth is we have bent over backwards as an organization to support our members and our future members. Now, when the exchange rate was about 700 or 800, yeah, we left it at 545 naira for like 1 year, knowing that we needed to support members. Yeah, that's number one. Number two, there's also a lot of discount, back-end discount that ACCA has done for members and future members in Nigeria. So for an example, what you pay for initial registration, what you pay for a lot of fees is discounted rate. And if you doubt it, please go to the ACCA website and check some of the prices. That is global pricing and what you are paying in Nigeria. You will see a lot of disparity. Nigeria is way lower. Yeah. And even for members, we have members that are in distress. So for an example, if members are earned below a certain income bracket, yeah, we don't allow them, they don't pay full, there's a discounted subscription they pay. That is to support them. Yeah. So I think as an organization, honestly, and I'm sure Ivy League can attest to it, Sheyi and Jonathan, we have been extremely supportive of members in Nigeria. Even the rate we are charging at the moment is 875. You and I know the market rate is 900 plus. But the thing is, you know, the losses we're even making on exchange rate is unbelievable, even with that rate. So please do bear with us, but it is very little we can do as one organization in an operating macroeconomic environment. So, Mr. Yusuf, I do hope that, that sort of, addresses your concern. And please do let us know if there's any other way we are open to it, so long as it's ethical, like you mentioned, that we can use in, if we have a rate we fix and we can use it to repatriate this fund, we are fine. Because I can tell you for free, we've not been able to move our funds in Nigeria for the last 3 years. It just been stuck there. So when we're even, imagine if we want to move money now, we'll probably move it at 900 plus, yeah? And then we will have charged you those funds, those rates at 400 and something, 300 and something, 500 and something. You can imagine the magnitude of the loss. So I'll move on to Sheyi's questions around scholarship. Yes, to encourage students in Africa, there's a scholarship scheme we instituted, for students that meet certain criteria to benefit from that. So yes, there is a scholarship scheme, but there are terms and conditions you need to qualify for before you can access it. So my commitment today is I will speak with my colleague to share those, those terms and conditions with you, so that you are absolutely very clear about them. Then on annual sub before exams, unfortunately, Rookaway we might not. I don't know if it's Rookaway that asked or Emmanuel. I apologize, but that may not happen. Will require you to please pay your subs and your exam fees before you can sit for exams. I think there was another question. Right. Unfortunately, I couldn't write it down before, but these are the ones I was able to capture.
Okay.
Back to you, Shiv.
Okay. Yeah, because of our time, I think we will need to move on. And let me just add a voice to Tom's response to the question on pricing and exchange rates. I sit on the ACCA Council, and the conversations around pricing and exchange rates are actually global conversations, actually not just a Nigerian issue, although I know it's more prominent in our environment. Every year, the ACCA adds value to the qualification. So for example, moving from paper-based exam to computer-based, allowing some students to write their exams from their house, which we call remote invigilated examinations, and then the continuing innovation around syllabus changes, papers like SBL and the structural changes that will be happening to it. All these things cost money, and that's in addition to value also provided to members, and so there have been a gradual process to balance, ensuring that the examination, the subscription, and all those things are not too costly, with also ensuring that we run a sustainable organization. When we benchmark ACCA rates with other globally accepted, respected accounting qualification, we found out that ACCA continues to be well priced, even well below some of these, other global accounting qualification, notwithstanding the fact that ACCA is the largest, is the fastest growing, and most innovative. So we recognize that challenge, and then when you come down to Nigeria and you look at the exchange rates and economic realities, we recognize that challenge. But I would advise that keep the momentum, focus on the bigger picture. These things will pass, and then you look back one day and say that, I thank God I didn't give up on that journey. All right, thank you very much, Tom. If you are still around, it's fine, because we have a couple of guests with us as well. But if you have to leave, we thank you very much for your time. So at this point, I would hand over to Jonathan, who will moderate a 15 to 20 minutes session with some of the guests we have around. Joe, over to you.
Good morning, everyone. And just to confirm that you all can hear me, it would be nice to just get that sort of feedback.
Yes, we can.
Good morning, Joe.
All right, good morning. I first of all want to just express my personal regards to our country head who just spoke. It's always a pleasure to hear our country head speak. And just like she did say, he's a very passionate person and really one that has added a lot of value to building the brand in Nigeria. So just to say Happy New Year. And by extension, Happy New Year to everyone. My name is Jonathan, and I'm one of the tutors at Ivy League particularly. So we're going to be having a guest session, and the theme of the guest session really is to look at, the value of accounting and really what are the benefits of studying accounting, but more importantly as well we'll take the conversation to ACCA. I've invited a couple of very interesting guests to speak to us. I just want the confirmation of how many of them are on the call. Just to confirm that Dr. Bimbo, is she on the call? Dr. Bimbo, if you're on the call, would you just let me know if you're on mute?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. And also to confirm that Dr. Femi is on the call as well too. Dr. Femi, can I get a confirmation you're on the call?
I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. And then the final person that I would like to join us on the panel is one of the very popular faces. You've heard him speak a lot today, and also a member of the ACCA Global Council, and that is she. So can I confirm that she is on the call?
Yes, I'm on the call. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. Honestly, it gives me great joy to be presenting to you all, these three seasoned guests. Just a bit about who they are. So I'm going to start with Dr. Bimbo. Dr. Bimbo is actually a senior colleague. We both share a faculty together, so we both teach accounting and finance at the Lagos Business School. She's a very seasoned chartered accountant with over 15 years of experience facilitating and training organizations from banking to textile manufacturing to management consulting, NGOs, international development financial institutions. Also a certified International Finance Corporation certified trainer, and she's actually obtained her doctorate of business administration from the Swiss Business School. Dr. Bimbo, I think it's a pleasure to always have you anywhere. So I think it's a pleasure to also have you here at Ivy League. Good morning, ma.
Good morning, Jonathan. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me this morning.
Fantastic. I also have another very, very interesting panelist who is Dr. Femi. Dr. Femi is also my lecturer. He taught me when I was at the University of Lagos Business School. He's a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Nigeria, but more importantly, a seasoned banker with over 30 years of working experience in the bank. And his expertise has ranged from accounting to audit to business advisory to tax services. Also a consultant with a couple of organizations. As I think as our last count, he is consulted for over 150 businesses. Dr. Femi, it's a pleasure to have you on the call here at Ivy League.
Thank you very much, Jonathan.
All right. And then she is no stranger to us. She is a member of the ACCA Global Council, a very seasoned finance consultant, and worked with 3 of the big fours in accounting. She is a pleasure to also have you again formally on the call.
Thanks, Jonathan. Right. Thank you.
All right. So I just wanted to get a couple of reflections. And one thing that all the 3 of you have in common is you're all professional accountants. And I'm sure you're all very conversant with the rigor of studying for a professional accounting qualification. On this call, we've got over 100+ people, who perhaps are still on that journey. And when you think back about your journey studying professional accounting, I'd just like that you reflect on that and somewhat like offer some sort of words of advice. So what do you say to people in an age where there's a lot of distraction from social media? There's a lot of competing needs. We're having a conversation not too long ago about the impact of exchange rates. But what do you sort of say to people who are studying for professional accounting? I mean, what's the bigger picture that they should stay focused on? So why really should they be motivated to study for a professional accounting qualification? So I think I'll start from Dr. Bimbo.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I am really excited about this kind of initiative. It's very laudable, well done. It's important that people are constantly reminded of the great potentials and opportunities out there. I finished school when I finished my secondary school. So I'll just give a short story. I started work as an office assistant in a company, and one day somebody called my boss and told me to please tell my boss to bring out his ICANN files, that he will come to Lagos and pick it up from my boss. But I had never heard the word ICANN before, so I started finding out from people that what does ICANN mean. So he said it's an exam that people fail a lot, and ACCA, ICANN, people had this impression then that people fail a lot. So it got me very curious because I started off with ICANN then. And I started, they said, don't do it. So it's very, very, people fail it a lot. In fact, that was what now increased my interest and curiosity in, let me even try this thing that people fail and see. But I asked the question, does anybody pass this exam? They said, yes, there are some people do. I said, okay, so let me give it a shot. And I was still working, just after leaving school. And I was 16 years old when I started my professional exams. When I signed up for it then I didn't do, what's it called, 8 years. I started with the professional P1 then, and I was allowed to start based on the WAEC results I had. When I started reading from home, I discovered that I sleep a lot. So I called my mom one night and told her that, Mom, I have to relocate. So I can't stay in this house every night. I would sleep. I have to go to where others read. And then we had one of these icon schools called Mayo. They are after Sabo in Lagos. There's Sabo Yaba. The next bus stop is between Agnes and, anyway, Mayo was there. So I made inquiries where I could start reading for my exams. And I started my exams, and I was so enthusiastic about it. I was very unstoppable. And I said, by 19, I'll be a chartered accountant. I can't wait to earn big money. So I started trying to find out how much do chartered accountants, and I compared it to different professions. What does lawyer earn? What does so? And for me, going through my first exams, I failed, and I failed woefully. I was very, very proud of myself that, this is the beginning of a great journey. I didn't let that to discourage me. And just by starting, I was able to move from where I was. Although I furthered I went to the university, but I was able to get a job with an audit firm, then moved to other bigger organizations, investment banking and all. I want to let everybody know that writing and becoming a professional accountant is not a bed of roses, but it is worth it. It's a journey that pays for all your hard work, and it gives you the right foundation to build upon to do whatever you want to do in addition to that. When I went to my first class as a young school leaver, I was in class with graduates. I think I was just three of us that were undergrads. Others were graduates. I was even in class with someone that was old enough to be a father. And I had when in secondary school, I was a pure science student. I never did accounting. I never did commercials. I was pure science, but I found it very interesting moving into this journey and then taking it. So one thing that I would want to encourage every one of us is to actually be interested in understanding and being able to also study very well for your exams, understand, do a lot of practice, and then you would see that it's very demanding. It requires you to study. And I know there are a lot of distractions. Now, one of the distractions for me then was the fact that I found out that staying at home and sleeping would not help me achieve my goal. So I had to actually leave home. I went to start, we read overnight in schools those days. I don't know if that still happens now because of security and all that. I went to read, and I will read overnight and then come back home in the morning. And how old was I then? I was 16. So I want us to be focused, to study hard. It's very achievable, it's very doable, it's very interesting. And you keep reading. Today, I have also gone further to go for my doctorate. And I find out that when we as a person, we keep developing our minds, we see that the opportunities are unlimited. Jonathan, I speak too much, so let me know when it's time.
So it's okay. It's actually okay. I mean, I could tell the passion in your comment. I'm going to pose this same sort of question again, but I'll nuance it a bit to Sheyi, because this is an ACCA audience, and more importantly, so that they're able to relate, this to the ACCA experience. So Sheyi, I think similar to Dr. Bimbo, you also started ACCA at a very young age, and just sort of, what do you say to many of these people? No, hello, let's stay on mute. Oh dear. So Shay, what would your advice be? And I really want us speaking to the distractions and dealing with the distractions, because as the tutor who has been teaching ACCA for a lot, one of the biggest issues is helping students stay motivated. So what do you say to them?
All right. Thanks, Jonathan. I'm sure you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Before I answer your question, I had an interesting chat that came in, which I would like to read. So someone said, Aisha, Dr. Bimbo is the reason why I understand accounting today. I was a core science student and I had no clue of double entry. She taught me basic accounting in Access Bank Training School, and after a class, I was confident enough to register for my ACCA. I'm glad she's on this panel. I just thought to mention that. So Dr. Bimbo, apparently some of your students are here. Yeah,
Thank you.
so talking about, all right. So talking about your question, yes, you are very correct. I also started ACCA earlier, and I mean, let's be honest, she covered most of the things. You have to have that drive. Is extremely important because the journey varies for different people. I passed most of my papers, as I progressed, and then the paper I considered to be the easiest at the professional level was the paper I had to rewrite, out of the 14 papers. And I know it may not always be that way for other people. So you have to stay motivated. You have to know what is driving you and what's your underlying purpose for writing ACCA. But as well beyond that, we live in a world where there's a lot of information being thrown at us. And we also need to prioritize what is more important, what's taking our time, what's consuming our time. And that's why most times in my classes, I emphasize the importance of planning, having a study plan, having a study friend or buddy as well, also helps to keep track. And then even as well, taking lectures with an approved learning provider, Ivy League. Sorry, can you help us check? There are some people that are not on mute, please. So, yes, sorry, I think I can do that here. Yes, I've dealt with that. So it's important as that will help you keep track, and that would also help you ensure that you are not, staying behind. Sometimes you pretty much have to switch off your phones or put it on silence when you really want to study to have maximum concentration. And things like going to a place to study overnight. I did that while I was doing ACCA as well. But I mean, you may get the same comfort or the same level of concentration you need outside. You may also get it at home. So it all depends on your style of studying and the amount of distractions you need to avoid and things like that. But definitely, I believe having that drive, having that purpose, at the start of the journey is extremely important. Thank you.
Thank you, Shay. That was very apt, and I mean similar experiences again, just like Dr. Bimbo. I want to pose the question again to Dr. Femi. So Dr. Femi wears a couple of hats. So actually, Dr. Femi has a son who is at Ivy League. So I'm sure Dr. Femi also gets that sort of first-hand impression about what studying in Ivy League would look like. But Dr. Femi has seasoned years of experience in a bank, heading the audit function, worked with lots of organizations. Doctor, what do you say to the people on the call listening to you, trying to navigate their ACCA journey? I mean, and with all your years of experience, what are the sort of things you just say to them just to inspire them? Was I audible? I don't know.
You may need to unmute, sir.
Okay, Sam. Okay,
Sorry.
yeah, he's muted.
Yes, I can. Okay. Now, I said I will start with my own example. I had an extra year in the university, and I was at a disadvantaged position. I had the feelings that my colleagues have gone ahead of me. I had that extra year not because I wasn't brilliant in school, but for one reason or the other, which I don't want to go into. So when I finished my youth service, I went to Ibadan. When I looked for a job for like 3 months, I said, no, I'm going to Lagos. So I went to PI. Mayo was there then, but I went to PI. And I started reading like that. I was focused, and I was able to pass my exams within maybe about 1.5 years or just no 2 diets. So, and most of it, one of the things I want you to note as you listen is that this professional exam is also a leveler. People that have gone ahead of me, I was able to qualify ahead of most of them, and at the end of the day, there wasn't much difference in terms of that they finished ahead of me in 1 year. That's number one. In my class, if you are an old person here, I also want you to, again from this example, there used to be a man. He was coming from Benin. He was an accountant in the water corporation, in then is it Bender State or Edo State? Anyway, he was coming. He will miss lectures during the week, but he was coming for the weekends. And on Sunday, he will leave the lectures midday, and he will copy notes, this and that. I was surprised. The diet that I did pass, he passed. So I was really surprised. So, you know, if you are old here and you think it's not good being here, I don't want to do this. And the man, he said when he was in the university, they were using slide rule, not even calculator. He went to University of Lagos and was able to pass. So just an encouragement if you feel that I'm too old, I have a lot of young people in the class. Now, you need to concentrate very well when you want to write ACCA exam. You know, that's one of the problems of students. Even till now, I've written over 30 papers, and my ICANN background, preparing for ICANN, helped me a lot because I was able to, you know, sit down and read for a long time. In fact, that's one of my, I would say one of my weaknesses. I can sit down for 8 hours without, you know, standing up, maybe except to go to toilet, which I'm trying to change that habit. So you need to concentrate, read very well. More importantly is the issue of what you face in the future. In this era where you don't have jobs, maybe I should cite another example again, or maybe you ask a question around that. I was sacked. Some of us were sacked in, over 20 years ago. They just, I was working in the bank, I was the chief inspector. They just said some of us should go and resign because they've not worked with us. And thank God, I had my practicing license since 1995, after training with Esther Young. You know, immediately I knew where I was going there in future. I may need my practicing license. So I got my practicing license in 1995. And, you know, when they said, and a year before I started my office, and when they said some of us should go, I resumed in my office on Monday. And that is part of what I've been doing since going to 21 years now. Let me just stop there. I don't know whether I've answered your
no, no,
question.
no, that is very fine, and also fantastic that you've made a couple of points which is related to the next question and maybe possibly the last side of questions. So accounting as we see it today is actually getting very broader in its scope. If you listen to the earlier sessions we had today, you know, you heard the country head of ECC speak about data analytics. You have also thrown in entrepreneurship. I'm currently a doctoral student, you know, studying on sustainability. You know, so I think accounting has really grown, and in what it can I mean, in the sort of opportunities for the people on this call, whether you want to go into entrepreneurship, whether you want to go into the core accounting areas like taxation, you know, like financial reporting, corporate reporting, you know, audit assurance, etc. Why do you think accounting is the right profession or for anyone on the call? So why is this sort of like the right decision they've made? Dr. Bimbo, what do you say to that? And maybe you can add in any, you know, parting shots. Why is this the best sort of profession to navigate or to go through in this era?
Thank you very much, Jonathan. I like to speak with empirical evidence, you know. I would like them to take time to look at successful CEOs of financial institutions or executive directors and just look at the profile. Accounting is one of the basic qualification that many of them have. Look at their background. They've all gone through professional accounting. So evidence shows that to reach the peak, whether you choose the pathway of being an entrepreneur or a professional, having your ACCA is a sure way of standing out and distinguishing yourself as a professional. So whichever way you decide to engage the economy, either you decide to continue in the pathway of building a career, probably in big established institutions, or you want to go through being an entrepreneur, you are guaranteed to be successful that there's there's nothing to lose. You are guaranteed because you have a tool that no one can take away from you. And I want to leverage and add on to what my Oga has said. Mr. Alade Jebi, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, we've collaborated on various platforms. We built a very profitable ecosystem as professionals. So I want to encourage them. I remember the person that mentioned that she learned it in class when I'm trying to remember her. When she came to meet me in class and said, I've never understood accounting like this before. Thank you very much. And I'm going for my CCA. I want to tell us that be interested in understanding every topic and be willing to even teach. You see, the opportunities are unlimited. I have a practice firm. I also work. I do training, and I can also work as a consultant with multinationals, with the World Bank. So I want to encourage every one of us that the evidence that you'll be successful is that just be focused, learn. And because technology is doing a lot now, for example, you have accounting softwares that before you had to write records and do that. So because technology, you also have to be on top of your game in what value you are going to add, whatever institution you are going to be. And I trust I trust everyone that, is that the right word to use? I believe strongly that when we continue to develop ourselves, we're intentional as professionals, and we seek to achieve better, we would definitely be successful. So I wish us all the best. And I want to tell us that there's evidence you're going to be successful. Keep working hard. Don't let the distractions make you lose sight of the big goal ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Bimbo. That was very, very profound. I want us to recognize actually one of the members of the panel who was in here when we started. I think is now here. That is Victor Ayola. Victor is the head of education learning partnerships in Nigeria for ECC. So Victor, do you want to say hello to us just to recognize that you're on the call?
Hello, thank you, Jonathan. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes,
okay,
we can.
I've actually been on the call for 1 hour, 10 minutes.
Wow.
I've been here since Sheyi was taking the question and answer before Tom. And it's been a great session. I've enjoyed every minute of it. And I've been very inspired by Dr. Abimbola and Dr. Olufemi. I think they and Sheyi, you all have done great justice to the subject. My apologies,
Victor,
I missed up my time zone, and that's why I had some initial issues signing up on time.
No, that's fine. Well, it's always a pleasure to have our ACC leadership team on the call. So Victor, I'm not going to allow you go without at least saying, just speaking to a couple of things. So maybe I should just ask you. You are a fellow of the ACCA, and you, just like every other one on the panel, you also went through this qualification. So what would be the sort of motivating words you share to those on the call as to why ACCA is the right sort of professional accountancy qualification they should pursue?
Thank you, Jonathan. I think my story is very similar to Dr. Abimbola and to some extent Sheyi. But in my case, unlike the two of them, I actually started my ACCA at age 37. After rising up in my career, I was head of personnel Intercontinental Properties, a subsidiary of Intercontinental Bank. And for a young man, 37 years old, I think I've done very well. Then I burnt all this bridge to pursue this crazy dream that I wanted to be an ACCA. For a few years, it looked like I have entered one chance because suddenly I had to do unimaginable kind of jobs because I was not yet qualified. I would go to work in the night on a night shift in the store in UK, and I will come to the class in the morning. And of course, I will be sleeping at some point in the class. I finished out of 14 courses, if I recall correctly. I had to take 13 courses, and I finished 11 courses within 3 years. Of course, I was passing and I was failing some, but I finished 11 courses within 3 years. And then I decided that I could no more afford to be paying for tuition, which is the lesson I actually want people on the call to take. I decided I was not able to pay for tuition anymore. And it took me another 3 years to pass the 2 subjects that I had left. Why? Because there is a safety that comes with working with an approved learning partner. The job, you can read yourself, but when you have to read 1,000 pages of textbook, 450 pages of revision kit, and you have to master this and revise with a minimum of 4 to 6 weeks before the exam, you will discover that it is time efficient, it is sensible and competent for you to actually go through an approved learning partner. And that's what makes a lot of difference. And it is a point that I cannot emphasize enough. Some people will say it's expensive, but to go through learning provider, but I can tell you from my experience, it's actually much more expensive to say you want to do it alone. It doesn't mean that you cannot pass. There are people who actually pass, who win prizes, but you will discover those people are in the very big minority. And I think that's my parting word.
Thank you, Victor. Always very insightful listening to you. So I wanted to pose the question to Shea, and that will also give him the opportunity to also give us his, final words to us. So Shea, just for context to everyone listening to us on the call, the current global president of ACC is a Nigerian. And just like many people on the call, actually also started his accountancy qualification here in Nigeria. And that speaks to the endless opportunities, for everyone on the call that, you studying for your ACCA qualification here tomorrow can just take you on the bigger stage. Also share yourself, you're also a member of the Global Governing Council of ACCA. I just wanted you to just speak to the opportunities and the endless global opportunities that, is available to everyone on the call, just courtesy of studying for ACCA. Yeah. What could their future look like, Thanks.
Yeah. Very good question. A lot to say about that. I'll keep it simple. I think I'll probably just use myself and maybe Joseph that you've mentioned as examples. First off is the breadth of the ACCA qualification. So if you look at all the papers you write, there are papers specifically designed to address what you will face, while working in real life, whether you are in finance, whether you're in business, whether you're in strategy or in taxation, auditing, management, reporting and things like that. I think the breadth of the syllabus is highly impressive, and that's actually what stands out the qualification. And that's because periodically ACCA tries to, reassess the alignment of the current syllabus with what employers actually search for, and carry out these surveys and revise the syllabus to reflect the skills and competencies that are expected of graduates of ACCA. I started my career, I've worked all my years in consulting, started with EY, moved to the UK, joined KPMG, and now with Deloitte. And across all these countries and firms, I continue to use the skills that I gained from ACCA. A case in point, for example, is IFRS. ACCA is the qualification that first adopted IFRS for its financial reporting papers. And this was very timely for me. In fact, getting my job at EY in 2010 or so, was actually premised on the fact that, I had that knowledge of IFRS, which I gained, from ACCA, because Nigeria was to convert to IFRS in 2012 at that time. And I can also remember a lot of things, even from my teaching experience in ACCA, things that, I pick up as part of preparing for my class, which then ends up helping me during my work experience or real work experience and things like that. So you pick someone like Joseph, again, who is the current global president of ACCA. Started off in Nigeria, worked with PwC, joined EY as well at some point, and moved to Australia. The ACCA qualification is a global qualification. Wherever you go to, it is recognized, and is not even a practicing accountant, is doing more of sustainability, similar to what Joe is working on, and is very successful in that area. Joined the ACCA Council at a young age, and obviously because of his passion, because of his inputs, because of the value he puts on the table, is our president today, and we're very proud of him. So that just talks to the enormous, benefit that comes with the designation. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I mean, you captured it very brilliantly. And then finally, to wrap up our session, will be Dr. Femi. So, Dr. Femi, I think you have it all. Practice, academia, research. You've just been in it all. I just wanted you to wrap up the session by telling us, or just affirming, why accounting is the best sort of qualification or the best sort of endeavor to pursue. So, what would be your parting shot on that? So, market accounting to everyone on the call. Doctor, you might need to unmute if you are muted. I think he needs to unmute.
Accounting, to me, is the best career. It gives you a good career path. Whatever I am today, apart from God, accounting opened the doors. Because, okay, for example, my doctoral degree, if I'm not making mistake, I spent over 25 million because I had my DBA from US. So I was shortly between US and Nigeria. And the school fees, well over 25 million naira. What did I use to accomplish that? It's the money I made from accounting. Also, accounting offers you global mobility, just like Sheyi have said. It offers you global mobility. Anywhere you get to all over the world, you can easily get jobs. And not only that, it gives you good earnings. You can easily earn good salary. Also, most professions, they respect accountants.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, for example, there are some professional groups that are being managed by accountants. They are not, for example, in marketing, you go there, you find accountants. You go to Institute of Directors, you see accountants, and so on and so forth. You see them becoming president and, holding top positions in such organizations. Then also you can be an entrepreneur. For example, I'm into entrepreneurship both practically and in theory. So, and accounting open doors for such opportunities for me. So let me just stop there.
Yeah.
So let me just stop there.
Okay, thank you so much to all of you. We're actually out of time, but on behalf of Ivy League, I just wanted to express our deepest gratitude to all the panelists. Thank you so much, Dr. Bimbo. We are so grateful to have had you on the call today. Thank you so much, Victor Ayola. We are so grateful to have had you on the call. Thank you so much, Dr. Femi. It was just a pleasure listening to you as well and other panelists on the call. And I mean, she is internal also, but thank you again, Sheyi. So that will be it from all of us. We do hope that we've sort of inspired you on why the choice you are making is perhaps the best choice you ever will be making professionally. So thank you, and I hand it back over to you, Sheyi. Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan, and thanks, Dr. Femi and Dr. Bimbo. So at this point, Victor, your presentation should come next, but if you don't mind, can I plead for 10 minutes while we take a student testimonial, and then we can come to your session? Is that okay? Or do you have to present now because of your time?
Absolutely. Oh, sorry. You do mean I should wait for another 10 minutes?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Is that fine?
No problem. I don't have much to present in any case.
Okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So Binoyo will be taking over now, talking to the issues around our lectures and our approach to tuition delivery. But we'll only take a first section, first section of that part of our presentation, which will focus on hearing, because when you hear from us say, this is what we do, it's working and all of that, we can't tell you bad things about our business anyway. So it's always good to hear from the students who, have achieved great things, partnering with us for their tuition. And then we take Victor's presentation and then we continue with the rest of the other things we have to cover. All right, Binoyo, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sheyi. Thank you very much, everyone who has joined us on this open day. We are glad, we are happy that you've honored us with your presence. And like Sheyi said, we'd like to have some of our students talking to us on what the qualification journey has been for them and how Ivy League has helped them in achieving their qualification in the nick of time. So the first person I'll be welcoming to this, her name is Vanessa Okafor, and she achieved the status of the best affiliate in the June 2022 exam. So Vanessa, are you here, please? Hello, Vanessa. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Mr. Binio. Good morning. I can hear you.
Hello, Vanessa. Okay. We're happy to welcome you here again, although you've qualified. I would like you to share your story with our students briefly on how you achieve the status of the top affiliates in the June 2022 exam, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Binio. Thank you, Mr. Shea. Thank you, Ivy League. And good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. I'll just be very quick. Ivy League was very, very, very an important part of my journey. And what I'll just say is 3 things that really helped me to achieve this top affiliate status. One, I started reading early. So I don't wait till maybe 3-4 weeks to the exam to rush my reading, because I'm the kind of person that I can't really read for a very extended period of time. So if my notes pile up and all that, it might really affect me. So I start to read as early as possible when classes are still going on. That's one. Then 2, I'm always active in class, especially revision classes, because at that point I've already pinpointed, maybe areas where I struggle with or areas where I need further clarification. So I'm always active. I'm not afraid to answer questions, even if I'm wrong, because that's how you get to learn, right? And I would say this, please try as much as you can to attempt the mock exams, especially those final mocks. They're very helpful. Like, they're so helpful. And then I remember Mr. Shea used to give us this like an Excel where he collates questions that you should try to go through, before the exams. I always made sure I went through all those questions before the exams. I plan my time to ensure I do, and I do them under time conditions. That helps me in ways that I can't even start to say, because first of all, it will boost your confidence. And then when you get to the exam hall, you just realize that somehow you're able to finish, right? Like, you're able to finish within that short time and you're well prepared. So those are like my top tips. I believe that if you're able to do this, there's no how you will not be able to like perform well in your exams. And if for any reason, maybe you don't do well in a paper, do not be discouraged. You just go again. You do it, even if you're afraid, do it afraid. And you just see that somehow you're able to finish and you're able to do well.
Hello, Vanessa. Hello. Please, can I have a confirmation Vanessa is still on the call?
Yeah, she probably is, but I think she's having a problem with her connection. Maybe we can move on to Sandra while
Can you hear
Vanessa.
me?
Okay, yes.
Oh, sorry,
Okay,
I think I went off the call for a bit. I don't even know where I stopped talking.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, we heard everything you said actually.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. Thank you for coming back to share your top tips with our students. And we know that they really they will find that very, very helpful. So quickly, I will go to another former student at Ivy League, a good ambassador of Ivy League, Sandra. Don't let me pronounce your surname. I don't want to murder it. So Sandra, are you here? Sandra, can you hear me?
Yes, I am, being Angel. Good morning, everyone.
Okay, good morning. So here we have Sandra. Go ahead and share with us top tips that made you pass ACC exam.
Okay, once again, good morning, everybody, and compliments of the season. And thank you for this privilege, for this opportunity to share my story. I will try to be as fast as possible. Yeah, thank you once again. So right from my university days, I've always liked a professional qualification that has a cross-border relevance. So that was one of the reasons I opted for ACC, even though I knew the journey would be tough. But as God will have it, God helped me all through the process. And I had my tuition center par excellence, like I always call Ivy League, tuition center par excellence, right? So they were with me all through my journey. And the likes of Cheyi, Jabiu, Biniyo, Lanre, Muyide, Jojo, Tunde, Dimenji, so a number of them, selfless, dedicated, and always willing to help. So, what are my top tips? I can say, writing exam almost every diet. Yes, I was entering the exam on almost every diet. I didn't have to wait, oh, because I've suffered a setback, let me just chill. I'm so demoralized, I'm so down. So I have to wait for like 9 months, 1 year. No. I fail, I resit, I fail, I resit. But as God will have it, I also had some first time passes and some second attempts, some even third attempts. Right. So I had to leverage ACCA study resources, the study hub. I had a study group, like I had bodies, selected bodies, people of like minds. So for each paper, I always try to have in fact, I was always the one championing those groups, right? So we always meet on Google Meet to meet some selected days during the week. We'll practice questions, we'll study, where there are issues, get back to particular tutor for the particular paper to help us explain, to guide us, and give us more insight, more explanation, right? And then question practice too was really very, very helpful, right? Question practice and not waiting to like 2 weeks, 3 weeks to exam before practicing. No, it was always back to back, back to back, back to back. Because I just told myself that, you know what, I will not rest, I will not settle until I have this qualification. And as God will have it, 2022 was, but 2022 gave me a very, very big gift. That's my ACCA qualification. And to even say that I was still able to gain my membership before end of 2022, it's something I'm really, really very, very grateful for. So like I always tell some persons, they'll meet me like, babe, how are you able to do this? I just tell them, see, if you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you, right? Even if you wait for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years to enter the exam, or you will still be the one to do it. So the earlier you get it done, the better. And to add to that, ACCA is very, very dynamic. It's very, very practical. And they keep, things keep evolving. You don't know what they're going to come up with in 2024 that even make passing more difficult. So why not just face it now? And I also tell them it's not an exam that you have to manage financially to write. You have to be ready to spend the money. Like I mentioned earlier, fail and receipt. It wasn't like something that was easy on me, but I just told myself that, you know what, I'm in for this and I have to give it my best shot. And before I stop talking, I want to appreciate once again Ivy League. Oh my God. In fact, I'm a good ambassador of Ivy League, right? The tutors are excellent. The admin staff, everybody friendly, very professional, always willing to lend a listening ear. You can call Bini here anytime. You can chat Jojo up anytime, and they're always willing to support. They're always willing to, assist. And so even say that their makeup classes, they'll tell you, let's have a makeup class from so time during the week. Let's do this. Just committed. Everything about them is just how do we ensure that these students succeed? And trust me, every student will want to, appreciate that. And I'm appreciating Ivy League right now, right? Thank you so much for this opportunity. And once again, I'm so excited. Each time I go to my dashboard on my ACCA.com, my ACCA portal, and I see that name and member beside it, I'm like, wow. So the struggles, the stress, everything was worth it. Once again, many times to Ivy League. I love you guys. I love all the tutors. I love the support staff. You guys are the best. But somebody is even telling me that Sandra recommend the tuition center. Just please don't even gamble your qualification. Just go to Ivy League. No, if I don't even gamble, just go there straight. Right? I'm a good ambassador of the brand and I like them so much. Once again, thank you so much. And I'm immensely grateful to God. And I'm also telling myself thank you because sometimes at some points I wanted to renege on the decision, but one thing kept me going that, babe, don't worry, be done someday. And today is a reality. Immensely grateful to everyone, including my buddies and everybody. Thank you so much for this opportunity and good morning once again.
Okay, Sandra, thank you very much. I think quickly, I have to revert to Sheyi, and I think it's referring to Mr. Ayola as well. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Vinaya, and thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Vanessa. It was also a pleasure to work with you through your ACCA journey, and thanks for coming back to give your feedback on the process. So at this point, I will call on Mr. Victor Ayola to quickly talk to us on some of the qualification changes that we need to take note of before we continue with our presentation on our tuition delivery style. Victor.
Thank you very much, Sheyi. Please, I could not share my screen.
Okay, do you?
Okay, don't worry. I can. Let me just talk offhand, not to delay us in view of time. Okay, brilliant. Yeah. Welcome once again, everyone. And the last speaker talked so much about how she has been an advocate of Ivy League. I want to jump on that bandwagon that I'm extremely proud of Ivy League as an institution. She is my personal friend. Despite our neutrality, I know that we have friends, and I know that it's been a really, really amazing journey working with Ivy League all along. Let me just throw this in. We used to have situations where our directors from UK and other leaders globally, they visit Nigeria, and of course we have to take them around the schools. And one thing that has been very consistent was that when we get to Ivy League, there is somebody that will bring out a big book with a lot of things that has been previously thought of, and questions and questions. And so that's why I call Sheyi a professor, because you cannot have an encounter with Sheyi without living there with new questions, new learning. But where we are today, I'll be very brief. I always keep to my time. I've been given 10 minutes, and you can be sure that in 8 minutes time, I will be done with this presentation. The I want to tell you that just like the last speaker has been a very good advocate for Ivy League, which I'm also, more importantly, I am lucky to be doing a job that even if there is no pay, I will still do the job. And that is working with ACCA. It's not something I'm telling you because I am on this call. It's on my LinkedIn, and one of the proofs that this is so is that ways back as a student in BPP, I was one of the students who advertised ACCA for BPP because I just have that passion, and you cannot blame me for that passion. Um, ACCA is a very unique qualification. It's so unique that I can safely say with all professional integrity that you can go around all the websites of major professional bodies in the world. You will not find one that is so rich, so dynamic, so content filled, so invested in student progress as the ACCA. The ACCA at any point in time have over 10 years of student support in exams, in examiners feedback, in many resources. So the first appeal I want to make to you on this call is when you finish this call, if you have not done so before, please go to accaglobal.com, and at the accaglobal.com, go to students, and then line by line go through everything there. It is okay for me to come here and just bamboozle you with information, but the best thing if you want to succeed in this qualification is to actually learn the discipline of reading your emails, which I'm sure many students don't do very well, and also engaging with the ACCA website. So everything that I will be doing in the next few minutes is from the website. We have resources that will help you to improve your exam there. We have examiners reports. We have specimen exams. We have one of the things that I really love, 5 minutes with examining team, which tells you about, gives you the opinion from the examining team. They will help you to identify things that will help you pass and the reasons that people are failing exams. And of course, you also have access to approved content providers. And recently, the ACCA, as recently about 3 years ago, thereabout, the ACCA introduced what is called the Study Hub. Absolutely brilliant. The Study Hub is practically like you have a digital textbook with question and answer, with a quiz, a game-oriented thing right in your own pocket. Now, all those are beautiful, but there is something more beautiful than everything that I have said so far now. And I want you to please pay attention seriously to this. It's called MEP, my exam performance. Now, Jonathan is a fan of a popular question in every post exam review that we have gone. Jonathan is even more than me, always talking about ACC administrative review. He has even done so much research on that more than I have even invested. For example, so in many things. But with the my exam performance, you really don't even need to think about the the administrative review anymore. Because what the ACCA has now done is that for every one of the over 500,000 students, when you finish an examination, the ACCA not only gives you your results, the ACCA breaks down your results section by section so that you can use these to review, to think, to identify your strengths, your weaknesses, to identify areas you did very well, areas you did not do very well. Now, I pray and I hope that you are as fortunate as Sheyi. When I say fortunate, it means that you are very bright and hardworking and things also gel for you. But there are times when there could be one thing or the other. At such time, you need something to tell you how well you are doing. Now, I previously told you about my struggle with two papers because I stopped attending with an ALP. It's a story that I like telling so that you will make the maximum opportunity that you have. Unlike you, I didn't have the privilege of a platinum school for a fraction of payment for wood. You know, I was paying like £550 per subject for my ACCA, and that's way back 2005, 2004. Now, I don't know whether it's close to £1,000 or £800 that students in other countries pay per subject. So whatever you are paying, just consider what fraction of what I paid that was. But you have that advantage. So my exam performance helps you to maximize that advantage by giving you a breakdown section by section on your exam. If you can, please, I want you to sign into your ACCA platform, and you go to where you check your result and you will see my exam performance there. It's always available the day of the exam. It's always going to be available the day of the exam. And this is something that I really want you to pay attention to. Also, there are videos that are available. Just go to ACCA Global website, search my exam performance in the search menu within the website, and it will come down. And there are videos there, short videos, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I think there are about 5 of them in the introduction point. And if you go through this, it will really tell you how you can make the maximum use of this my exam performance. And what you can achieve with this is that even if you can discover a pattern, your learning provider like Ivy League can then use this more like a diagnostic. It's like before a doctor treats you, the doctor needs to know your medical history. The doctor needs to know the symptoms that you have, and then put all these things together to reach a conclusion. And that's exactly what my exam performance will do to you. But you don't wait. You don't need to wait to fail an exam. You can adopt best practice. Somebody has spoken here. I'm bad with names, but one of the panelists mentioned that she used to study long hours, and another person, one of the prize winners, says that she never leaves anything to the last minute. I want you to please take those things home as guide, and in line with my promise to finish on the dot of past hour, I want to wait if you have any question so that I can take that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Victor Ayola. That was very, very, very insightful. I can imagine if I'm a student thinking about starting ACCA or already in the journey, I can imagine those are encouraging words. So thank you so much. Because I know Victor may want to leave soon, and we are not having our Q&A session until another 10-15 minutes. I would want to check with our audience if anybody has a pressing question for Victor, but if not, we'll take the other questions once we are done with the next session that we want to cover. So please, is there any question for Victor? If you have a question for him, you can just come off mute and ask. Okay, looks like there is no specific question for you, Mr. Victor. But if there is at the end of the day, we should be happy to take that. And if we can't answer it, we will definitely refer back to you and then get back to the students. So thank you so much once again. At this point, I will hand over to. Oh, Uju, you have a question?
Yeah, I actually dropped it from Mr. Tom, but I feel Mr. Victor could be of help. I
Yes,
know
please go
there's
ahead.
this agreement with ACCA and CPA Canada, but I don't know if they've concluded on coming back together. I don't know if Victor can be of help to throw more light on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oju. I think I would be very surprised if CPA Canada does not come up as well. It's been a popular question on my system platforms. Now, let me first dance around before I answer the question. But I want to know you. Are you an auditor, external accountant with practice license?
No.
You are not. Okay. Now, the reason I asked that question, and Sheyi has had the privilege of working with three of the four big fours, and I've also had the privilege of working in United Kingdom and in Nigeria. But one thing I can tell you is that there is a lot of overhype about the value of the CPA agreement with ACCA. The first thing I want to assure everyone and anyone on this call is that with or without CPA Canada, you can work, you will work and be successful in Canada. Now, that is not to undermine or write off the benefit of an agreement with CPA Canada. That's not where I'm going. Where I'm going is this: 95% at least of accountants will never need that before they'll be able to work and fulfill everything they need to do in their career. This is because even if you are I would use two professional bodies as example. I'm not talking about them, just to put context. If you're an ICANN member, and you are not breaking the law, you are acting ethically, okay? You cannot be in practice unless you have been trained by an audit firm for at least 3 years and you have a license. Is an FI is an international thing. The same way an ACCA member cannot practice in Nigeria, even in UK, without a practice license, which means you have been taught by an audit firm, you've been taken through the rigor for at least 3 years. Having said that, it means that it does not matter which qualification you have. You can't practice in Canada in any case unless you have passed through that training. So it's not the CPA that's preventing you from practicing. It's particularly because you don't have the grounding to be able to enable you to do that. Now, the CPA was asking ACCA to practically sign an agreement that would undermine our qualification. The ACCA is globally recognized as a master's level qualification, and the level of agreement that we had with CPA was that you did not need to write any exam. Now they were coming to us with some proposals that were not in the best interest of our members, and signing it means that we are reducing the value of our qualification. And we knew that we had enough brand power that with or without CPA, our members will work successfully. And I can say that with confidence. Our accountant in the ACC office, Nigeria, is now the accountant for Coca-Cola, Canada. Is now a financial, a senior financial analyst or something like that with Coca-Cola, Canada. You understand? So that is the way it works. So first, let us not overhype that, that you can work, it doesn't limit you in any way. I don't know whether it has points when you are doing the application. But apart from that, it doesn't affect anything. Sheyi, please correct me if that is wrong.
Yeah, no. That's very on point. And just to add a little bit of context to it. So before now, you had different bodies. I think there's a CPA, CGA, and all of that in Canada. And ACCA had, MOUs that were in place, which allowed you not to write any exam and automatically become a member of CPA. But I think there was some sort of merger that happened, between those bodies in Canada, and they had to revise and review existing terms, and the new terms they were coming up with were, not acceptable to ACCA, as Victor mentioned. It's not a dead end. It's something that is still being looked into. Maybe at some future date, something may come up, but for now, we don't expect that that the MOU will come alive, again, at least based on the information I have now. However, I think the more important thing is what Victor has addressed. Can you work in Canada with your ACCA qualification? The answer is yes. And except you have to practice, which typically is usually the law in most countries, then that's when you have to deal with it. And notwithstanding that fact, we've got council members from Canada as well. We've got lots of members as well, in Canada who espouse the ACCA qualification. And also beyond that, you can effectively still use your qualification, to get jobs in Canada, and it's still very recognized. The gap in Canada, the accounting, what's the name? Generally accepted accounting principles is IFRS. And ACCA is also based on IFRS, so there's no substantial difference, in that area. Okay, yeah. So what I wanted to add is, and if you have to then convert, from ACCA to CPA, it's not something that will be out of this world in terms of the knowledge you would have already gained from ACCA that can help you excel in any paper you would have to write with CPA. But that's the status as of now. I believe there is no other question for Victor. Maybe we can take one more question and then we move on. Yusuf, go ahead, please.
Oh, good afternoon, good morning. Sorry, I thought Mr. Victor has concluded, because the question is actually directed to Ivy League. So I don't know.
Oh, okay. So let's hold on then. So thanks
yeah.
very much, Victor. So we'll continue with the rest of the session with Binoyo. In 10 minutes, he will take us through our approach to tuition delivery. Oh, at Ivy League. Sorry, I didn't know we had Sandra's picture here. So that was Sandra. All right, so over to you, Binoyo.
Thank you very much. Quickly, very little to say, like Shea said, about our approach to tutoring at Ivy League, because our students have borne clear testimony of how successful our approach has been over the years. But we are innovative. We keep evolving. We keep learning new things every diet, and we keep incorporating them into our approach so that we can be at the very top of the game. So these are the basic offerings that we have at Ivy League. We have standard lectures, and our standard lectures are designed for individuals who wants to take June and December exams, basically. And the lectures are detailed. We are targeting people who are taking the paper the very first time. And when are we starting this one? The one for June 2023 exam is starting next week, Saturday and Sunday. And the duration for that standard lecture is 13 weekends. And like we said in some of the presentations earlier, we have online and face-to-face options for some papers. So all the papers are available online. However, for some papers like SBR, like performance, like strategic business reporting at the strategic professional level, performance management, financial management, at the applied skill level, management accounting and the financial accounting at the applied skill level, we equally have face-to-face options for them in addition to the online platform. Uh, that's all about our standard lectures. Then about our intensive lectures, these intensive lectures are targeted at students taking March and September exams. Like we said, our intensive lectures are starting today, but they are basically for the strategic professional papers, except advanced tax. So we have intensive lectures for these coming March 2023 exams for SBR, for SBL, for APM, for AFN in the school, and they are all online lectures. We don't have face-to-face option for that. And we need to put this in context. These intensive lectures are suitable for students who are taking a paper, So you've had a go at that paper before, you want to have another go, or you've done a couple of self-study, so you want to complement that self-study effort. These intensive lectures are designed for you. And let me just quickly say something at this point before moving to the next one, which is the fact that, so Mr. Victor Ayola said it, and Vanessa and Sandra equally said it, and I'm going to reiterate it. There's a difference between preparing for your exam on your own and preparing with an ALP. Equally, myself, I failed a particular paper, in fact, delayed my qualification for 3 good years because I wanted to do self-study. So we are having all these offerings designed for all your needs, whatever needs, whether you want to have a retake, whether you want to complement self-study, whether you want to have a first go at any paper, please, we'll be happy to support you like we've supported people in the past, and take good advantage of this, because there is a massive difference between doing pure self-study and taking lectures with an approved learning partner, especially of platinum status. The last of our offering is the question-based revision, which is normally starts 7 weeks before the June and December exam starts. And it's in this class, this is the climax in which we bring together all the knowledge we've passed across during the standard lecture, so we condense them in terms of offering question-based revision sessions. So these are targeted at people who have done standard lectures, so they just come in, or somebody who wants to have a quick retake. So it's a question-based revision course, and it's for 6 weekends, and it's purely online as well. And there is an extra in this question-based revision course, which is the opportunity to have a mock marked, graded, and feedback provided to you. So those are our offerings with respect to with ACCA during the weekends. And we also have for weekdays, we have full-time weekday lectures. I don't think it's Monday to Friday, it's just on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And it's currently a face-to-face class. And it's strictly for now. We hope to expand that as time goes on, but strictly for foundation papers or knowledge modules, that is the business and technology, management accounting, and financial accounting. And that's a good way. That's an avenue for university students, pre-university students, those who are serving the nation currently, to join and start their rewarding accounting career. And we have 2 streams of classes, runs for 10 weeks, late January, and late July. So we are in, so help us to tell your friends, those who are waiting for university admission, those who have finished university, going for service, or those who are currently serving, or those who are currently in the university. They can take advantage of these full-time weekday lectures. So many of our students for these full-time weekday lectures have come from neighboring University of Lagos, Yaba Tech, Yaba College of Technology, and other schools, even outside Lagos. So it's an opportunity to start what has been described today by various persons who have spoken today as highly rewarding accounting career. And also, we could help you. In addition to all of this, we could help you with initial registration with ACCA. So we have a highly effective and efficient admin team. Just give them a call, give them all the appropriate documents, and they will help you to upload all the documents and get your ACCA registration done on time. And they can even support you with making ACCA payment as well. And also in the school, we have online, we have CBE, computer-based. So Ivy League is an approved computer based center, exam center. So that means that you can write your own demand papers at Ivy League. So papers, the first 4 papers in the ACCA qualification, MA, FA, BT, and CBL. They are on-demand papers, meaning that as soon as you are ready to write them, you can just contact our admin team. You make payment, they will schedule you for the exams. And remember that we also offer competitive prices for these. So you want to write with us and obtain and enjoy that competitive pricing that is only offered by Ivy League. And how do we approach ACCA tuition delivery at Ivy League? This is a unique one. So we have 3-pronged approach. So the planning phase, we have the lecture plan done, study notes, question pack, assignment pack, and pre-recorded lectures. And then we teach, in which on the online platform, we use Microsoft Teams. So it is a very popular and it's user-friendly. So even if you haven't used Microsoft Teams before, it's user-friendly, something you can learn in an hour. And our admin team, they are ready. We have ready-made videos that could take you through how to do basic things on Microsoft Teams. So we do question practice as well. We have progress test at the middle of the diet. When you do a progress test, a short one, and we provide feedback. Also, we support our students via various WhatsApp groups. So we have WhatsApp group for different classes, and all our tutors, highly experienced tutors, they are all there to support our students. And just like I've said, we have face-to-face classes for some of the selected papers. Finally, we have revision plans as well. So we do revision, like I've said. Our revision is all-encompassing. So we take time to ensure that no part of the syllabus is left. And that's the reason why we keep churning out the very best performance with respect to ACCA exams. And to cap it all, we do mock debrief sessions. So our diets, lecture delivery, tuition delivery, every session, every diet ends with a mock debrief session. And that mock debrief session means that we come together. Our students have done revision classes, they've written mock, we've marked them, we've provided feedback. So in that mock debrief session, then we then tell them general things and specific things that they should watch out for if they are answering questions in the exam. And these have promised. It has promised. It is something that has helped so many of our students to scale through their exams. And before I go back to Sheyi, this is a sample lecture plan at Ivy League. So you could see this is a sample lecture plan. So please, can you help me? Okay, so that's a sample lecture plan showing you what our lecture delivery pattern is, incorporating everything that I've said as part and parcel of our tuition delivery. And at this point, I would like to hand over back to Sheyi for the rest of the discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Binuyo. And just to add that, we had some very exciting news in 2022. Actually, we dominated all top affiliate categories, whether number 1, number 2, number 3. In fact, a case in point was September 2022, which is the last exam results we have as of now, where all the top 3 students were all Ivy League students. And that continues to show that our teaching methodology and quality of tuition still works. So as can be seen on this slide, these are our tuition quality aids. So if you are taking a paper at the skills level or knowledge level, and you're having one issue or the other, you need advice, or you're having a challenge with your lectures or your lecturer, and you feel you need someone to talk to, Binuyo is your go-to person. That number is available on WhatsApp as well. If it's the professional level exams or papers, strategic professional papers, then Olumide is your go-to person. And for any other matter of interest, I'm also available providing support to the team. On the next slide, we have our lecture timetable. This is also available on our website. And as you can see here, the following papers down below are the ones we provide lectures for face-to-face. And the timing for Saturday papers and Sunday papers are also clearly mentioned. So at this time, I would ask the school general manager to come talk to us about certain things related to admin, registering, and he'll have just about 3 minutes to do that. Manager, you ready?
Yes, good morning, everyone, and thank you for having us. Thank you for spending this time with us. We are really grateful. Please confirm you can hear me.
Yes, we can. Yes.
Oh, thank you very much. So I'm going to quickly run you through our process of registration and completing referral incentives. If you want to defer your course, or for one reason or the other, you couldn't continue classes and you want to get refund of what you've paid, and also take you through how we've spent and the time we have now. I've also dropped my number on the chat box, so you can pick my number if you want any you have any further inquiry or information you want me to give to you. So registration process starts from, okay, student doing due diligence, picking Ivy League, contacting us via, it could be phone, it could be email, it could be through our social media pages. Then once we have conversation with you, tell you what it's going to cost you to take whatever paper of interest. We will not just take your payment. We advise you on paper combination and maybe number of papers that is practicable for you to write. Then once payment is made, we send you a registration form. Once the registration form is filled, we will profile you. The good thing about Ivy League is that, and we are so passionate about what we do, so we just don't profile you for lectures. We profile you for lecture. We'll profile you for practicing, because your exams are going to be computer-based exam, and it needs you to practice on the platform that is a replica of your real exam platform. So we profile you on this platform as well, so that you can practice. Profile you on a learning platform. We send you a video that will help you to navigate the learning platform, which is Microsoft Teams. Very, very interactive and very, very easy to use. But in the course of our service to you, you may have one complaint or the other, which is normal. Ivy League is an organization that takes seriously students' feedbacks and students complain. In line with the regulation, complaint regulation of the country, which you can find on our website, complaint section of our website. You can also reach out to us via our phone numbers, which will make available to you. You can reach out to the admin. If the admin is not giving situation, can you please unmute? Okay, thank you. If the admin is not giving you the right feedback or the right response to your complaint, you can escalate further. The numbers as well will share with you. We have referral incentives, just like Mr. Sheyi mentioned. Look out for our scholarship, news from our social media going forward. We have a referral incentive that we have decided to raise up from where what it used to be. Prior to now, you refer to students, then you get 10,000 naira for referring to students. But if you do refer to students now, we'll give you, we've doubled that. So refer to students and you get 20,000, which means you can refer as much as 500 students and you get 500 into 10,000 places. So we are looking at 5 million or thereabout. So also, if you want to defer your course for one reason or the other, I started classes in Lagos and then I had to travel, time zone is not helping, or for one reason or the other, as long as you meet deferral policy, deferral and reform policy, which is also on our website, if you've not attended more than 25% of the class, you are eligible for deferral. But we charge administrative charge on it. The same thing applies to refund. If you have not, as long as you've not attended more than 25% of the class, you are eligible to get refunded for what you've paid minus administrative charge. Like I said earlier, navigating through our resources is simple. Microsoft Teams is interactive. The video that will help you do this will be given to you when you register. Once we profile you, you get an email and you also get a video. I would like to add this as well. I don't know if you can move to the next slide, sir, so I can quickly take this. Okay, so okay, I would like to add this as well. When you register at Ivy League, we also profile you on our social media page, on our WhatsApp page. Every class at Ivy League has a WhatsApp group page where students catch up with classes. I used to tell students when they call me for inquiries, I tell them, okay, Ivy League does not only teach in class, we teach 24 hours because you can drop your queries, your question on the class WhatsApp, and then somebody will pick it up from there and respond to you. I think if there's any addition, Mr. Sheyi will take it from there. But my number has been dropped on the chat group. You can reach out to me via the number, through call or WhatsApp. Thank you for having me, and thank you once again for being part of our community.
All right, thank you very much. And just to add, in respect of the referral incentive, please ensure that the person you're referring enters your name and your phone number at the point of registration. So everyone will normally have a registration link where you provide certain details. So if you are referring someone, just give them your name and your phone number as well, and then we will contact you. Sorry, let me just mute Amal. All right, so it's time for questions. So please, if you have a question, can you please raise your hand? I will just follow the order of hands raised that I have here. We'll take each question in batches of 3. And then once I've taken 6 questions, we'll wrap up. And if you still have additional questions, you can stay online. We are still here to answer those questions, but just so that we can close the session for today, and we are well aware of the fact that we ran out of time, so we apologize for that. So Doso Okweyemi, you can go ahead, please, with your question.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Shay. So my question is around the experience that we need to have before we can become ACCA qualified. I know during the course of the presentation, you mentioned areas like auditing and taxation, but I want to ask, the experience, does it have to be only financially related? And what about people that have worked for years in a financial institution, right, but not necessarily in auditing and taxation? Experience like that, does it count towards this qualification, or does it have to be specifically financially related? So that's the first one. The second question I wanted to ask was around the payment for the subscription and the exam fee. I know the last presenter mentioned something about payment support for Ivy League students. So I would like more clarification, really. I know you also said something about getting advice on paper combination, but how does that work? Because I know that the lessons are starting next week, Saturday, and that means we have just about 1 week to do the registration, then to start lectures. So how will we be contacted during this 1 week so that we can register and then we can start classes? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That is noted. Okay, so I move on to the next person. As I said, I will take it in batches of 3. Sorry, what I see here is Akure. Akure, go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Sheyi. So, please, my own goes thus. Last time we did open day like this, you were present at the program, and you are one of the hosts. But my concern is when I register for the class, I find it difficult. You only attended one class, probably one SBR. I registered for SBR, well, purposely because I think you will be part of the tutor. That's why I registered, but I could not feel your presence really. But this time around, I want to come for AAA, triple A, and I know you are good at that, and I'm coming purposely because of you. So how will you be available? Or because I've tried it maybe June diet last year to make an attempt for that AAA, but throughout the time I tried the class, you were not present. I don't know these days, probably we like to have you as one of the tutors so that even giving us a word of encouragement or your teaching modalities, I think it inspires some students to really work well for the success.
Yeah.
Also,
Right.
the second one is about the timetable. The timetable for AAA used to be in the evening time, maybe probably 2 to 4, or if I don't forget. That time, for that particular, the sensitivity of that paper, triple A, as for me, is always odd, especially most of, I think it's Sundays, 4 to 6 or 2 to 6. So I want if there is anything that you can do about it. That's about that. The next one that related to that is having a whole 4 hours lectures. It looks somehow. Some people may not complain, but if you can split it, maybe like SBR, like we are having 4 hours, maybe 2 hours, and part of the 4 hours for AAA too should be for SBR, so that in the morning you may be having a triple A in the morning, or probably the remaining 2 hours the following day in the afternoon. I don't know how you want to schedule it, but having long 4 hours lecture, if by the time I have 2 hours, I'll be tired of the remaining 2 hours. I may not be able to comprehend or flow with the class. Mr. Jamiu can bear me witness that if I start SBR within 2 hours, they can be listening, they can be hearing me participating. But after I do that 2 hours, the something said.
They don't hear your voice again. Okay.
So if there is
All
anything
right.
you
Thank you
can do.
very much.
Thank you very much. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, so I'll address it. Collins, go ahead, please. Collins, you're on mute in case you're talking. Okay, looks like I have to skip. Sanusi Ahmed,
Hello.
go ahead. Oh, okay,
Hello,
Collins. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
Good
Collins.
morning. Morning, Sas.
Good morning.
Happy New Year to everyone. My question, what I don't know if I'll call it a question or just a suggestion. One is that I'm sorry I joined very late because I was having issues with my connection. So most of the things that were said in the webinar by the people that were online, I couldn't get any. So it was almost at the closing that I got. I don't know if this open day is recorded for some of us that may want to listen to it again and again from what was said from the beginning to the end. Then then secondly is on the issue of situations where somebody have gone through series of lectures with Ivy League, and for one reason or the other, was not able to even take the exams or complete all his papers. Can he still have access to recorded lectures which he or she attended, even without re-registering again?
Okay.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
noted.
the question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you very much, Collins. So I'll take these first three questions we have, and then we move to the next batch of questions. So the first one was around performance objectives for the practical experience requirements to become a member of ACCA, and whether there are performance objectives that are non-finance related. So actually, performance objectives are divided into two. There are the essential ones and there are the technical ones. Now, as the name implies, the technical ones are a bit more functional, that is specific on your area of work, right? While the essential ones are generic skills or competencies that we believe all accountants should have, even if you are not in a very technical role. So examples of essential skills include ethics and professionalism, stakeholder relationship management, strategy and innovation, governance, risk and control, leadership and management. So these are 5 performance objectives. Now, listening to those 5 performance objectives, you can clearly see that they've got nothing to do with working in an accounting role only or in a finance role only. So for example, do you answer customer inquiries? Do you handle customer relationship management? Do you handle relationship with various stakeholders such as, governments, your creditors, your debtors, or even employees within the organization? Most people would often do this as part of their roles in an organization, and that certainly can be a performance objective you can sign off. Leadership and management. Do you manage a team? Do you lead a team? Are you in charge of something within your organization? To the extent that the answer to this is yes, whether it's finance related, accounting related or not, doesn't matter. You should be able to bank, some performance objectives in respect of that. Now, if we move to the technical side, there are about close to 11, if not up to 17 performance objectives that you can choose from, and you only need 4 out of 17. Okay, now these 17 are divided into various areas: corporate and business reporting, financial management, management accounting, taxation, audit and assurance, advisory and consultancy for those of you in management consulting or technology consulting or things like that. And then finally we have data, digital, and technology. So there are, I mean, the diversity is there in terms of performance objectives. So if I'm not, for example, in an audit role, for example, or but I do tax, then I can identify the POs related to tax. If I'm not in tax, I'm not in audit, but I'm in a finance function within an organization where I oversee planning and budgeting, for example, or I monitor and track performance and report to management on that, or I prepare management information, whatever type of management information. These are POs you can sign off to. Or even if you're in tech and you are a data analyst, for example, or data scientist, or you support decision-making process with data analysis, you can also sign off POs for that. So I can assure you the diversity of experience that you can claim, as part of the membership process is very high. The other question you asked was lectures will be starting next week. How do I begin registration and all of that? So that's very easy. As manager mentioned earlier, I think he dropped his number on the chat area. You can also reach out to us, via any of the numbers you can see on my slide. Okay, actually, there's no number on this slide. Sorry about that. So these are our social media platform. That's our email, but you can reach us through the number on the chat box. So manager, you may please want to drop other numbers as well, aside yours. So you will get a registration link, which you will use to register, to let us know the papers you're interested in, and then you also obviously pay. And then from there, the team will begin the process of setting you up. We always advise that you register and pay at least 48 hours before your class. For example, intensive classes have started today, so standard classes will be starting next week. The process is actually seamless. You don't need to come to Ivy League to do any of these things. Okay, I think I covered that. Then the other question was regarding AAA. Okay, my availability. Oh yeah, I teach AAA at Ivy League. And I think one of the things that have happened over time is the diversity of experience we now have at Ivy League. I remember when we started, I probably used to teach AAA from end to end, but I don't need to do that again. But I'm still on the lecturing team. I have my section within the syllabus. Other tutors have their section, which I can confirm they teach far better than me. And then I guess that's also the same across other papers as well. So yes, I should feature in the AAA class, depending on whether you're taking intensive or standard class. Timing of AAA, yes, it's 2:30 to 6:30 on Sundays. I agree with you, the time may be somewhat sensitive, but one of the reasons why we had to do it that way is that we got a lot of feedback from students saying papers that are calculation intense, it would be nice to have them in the morning, when the brain is still fresh and all of that. Well, I think we cannot always achieve a perfect scenario across all papers, but one of the things we've tried to do is just to see how we can, map this paper so as to achieve the best fit. But I agree it may not always suit everyone. Regarding whether that can be changed, unfortunately not this diet, because timetables are already out and people have already, planned their schedule based on that. Length of lectures, 4 hours. I agree with you. And to be honest, we had that debate this year, late last year, around whether we should go back to the 2-hour model. Obviously, when we started, we were doing our lectures for 2 hours, but a paper happens both on Saturday and Sunday. But we also recognize the fact that people want flexibility. So an average ACCH student typically does 2 papers or 3 papers. And so we saw that students want a situation where they can say, oh, if it's 2 papers, maybe I have 2 optional papers to take. I'll rather just do AFM and maybe another optional paper that takes place on Saturday, or I'll take my papers that take place on Sunday. So I have Saturday to myself, or I have Sunday to myself. So I think it's really a balance at the end of the day. I agree with you, 4 hours is long, particularly now that we are having our lectures virtually significantly, and also the fact that there are lots of things that can potentially distract you, in that process, unlike being in a face-to-face class. But I will want you to count on your, would I say, discipline, self-control, and perseverance to still make this happen. It's something we are reassessing. We'll probably carry out a survey during the diet this year to see whether students' view have actually changed and whether we need to rethink the length of each lecture. Finally, someone asked whether this session is being recorded and will be made available. Yes, it's being recorded. You can check our YouTube page by tomorrow. You can just search with Open Day January 2023. You'll find it there and you can listen to it again. Our YouTube page is Ivy League Associates. If I registered and took lectures this diet, but I did not write the exam, can I get access to the recorded lectures next diet so that I can read on my own? Unfortunately not. Your lectures are recorded, yeah, and if you miss a class, you can listen to it again. But at the end of every diet, we practically start afresh, okay? So we are not able at this time to provide access to recorded lectures of last diet for students that are, that want to re-listen to such again. But however, if you will not be able to attend lectures, but you still need access to videos, you can always talk to the admin team. They can always have an arrangement with you that is mutually beneficial. Okay, so at this point, I have lots of hand here. Okay, so Sanusi, please go ahead. After Sanusi, Moses, and then we take Stephen.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, I think I'm having a here. Mr. C, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Now, my first question is that on the chat, what's in here on this Google Meet, the chat is disabled. I don't know if I'm the only one seeing that. So the link that you said was earlier dropped. I couldn't see any, and I've tried to chat the Ivy League number. Possibly somebody could send the link to me to register for the lectures. So that's number one. Then number two, just to confirm, EPSM, is it a criteria for passing SBL papers? Do I need to finish that before I can do the paper, or must I finish before I can pass an SBL paper? That's my question on that, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think someone is all right, thanks, Sanusi Ahmed. I got your questions. Moses, go ahead, please. Moses, you're on mute in case you're talking. Go ahead. We can hear you.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Moses. Go ahead.
Okay, so basically I have two questions. I started my ACCA journey the previous year, 2021 rather. So last year January I paid for one of the courses, but a lot of things went down, and I even had to like relocate, change a job. So I just decided to take a pause. But I haven't sat for the exam, but I have paid for it. Hope that still counts. It's an on-demand paper. It's FA. I just want to be sure I don't have to repay again. So that's one. Secondly, I checked my ACCA global account, my ACCA account, and I saw that the subscription is due for January 12th. Even though I had some amount of money in my wallet, which they've already taken, but it wasn't sufficient to cover for the entire thing. So usually, I know they usually do this. They did it last year. This discount on exchange rates for students, but I'm not seeing anything like that on my dashboard. So, is there anything like that this year? And if no, any idea what the current exchange rate is, so I can make this payment before it expires?
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you very much, Moses. Well noted. Stephen, go ahead.
Hi, Shay. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can.
All right, great. So I have two questions, right? For the first one, you've already addressed it, right? But I just need to clarify and be sure of, my understanding. So when Ayola was speaking, Victor Ayola, he made mention of having a practicing license if you performed in an audit or a taxation role in order to work in countries like Canada or UK. So the practicing license he's talking about, is it the same membership status we get when we complete the is it the performance objective you spoke on, or it's something totally different, right? Because I work as a financial accountant, but not in the consulting or audit space. Some of my roles are similar, but totally different. I know I can claim some performance objective, right, that can account for that. What I'm not sure of is if this is equivalent to the practicing license I last spoke on.
All right.
That's my first question. My second question is in the areas of how Ivy League can support in claiming the performance objective, right? So when you spoke on it, I could see some of my functions and roles that I had performed, which I could actually claim objective on. But prior to now, whenever I look at those objectives, I'm always lost. I don't know how to start. I don't know how to begin. So I don't know if there is an offering from Ivy League that supports students in claiming this objective. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Stephen. I think let me break my rule. Let me add one more person. The next person here, your name is me, or at least that's what I can see. So go ahead.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you
Good
hear me?
afternoon. Yes, I can.
Yes, when the explanation for the types of classes that were offered, because I'm an undergraduate in Unilag, so I'm going to start from I think knowledge. And then he was saying something about how the classes are like, or most of the university students do weekday classes. I don't know if that's possible for me because I thought like I could do weekend and maybe like also with like an online. But you said online is available for everyone. So yes, I wanted to ask about that. And also I'm going to write in March. I want to write my first two papers in March. So also when he was talking I was saying something like these are the classes for people that want to write in June. I don't know. I'm a bit
Yeah.
confused. So
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah.
question.
Thanks for that. Sorry, what's your name?
No, sir.
No, sir. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right. So I'll take this group of questions we have now, and then we'll continue with the other hands raised. So registration link, yes. Sorry if the chat box is inactive for others to drop a message. But yes, you can chat up any of the numbers that have been dropped in the chat area to get the registration link. Okay, but I think actually another person also dropped a message in the chat area. So maybe because the person is on the system already. Anyway, EPSM for SBL, is it mandatory? I would like to answer that question by saying yes, even though the technical answer is no. And the reason is because there are lots of things you will learn from that online module, which will help you in your SBL exam. In fact, ACCA did a survey, a research, and they found out that students who had done their ethics and professional skills module training had a higher chance or had actually been passing their SBL exams compared to students who had not attempted it. I think that's enough to justify you doing it before or during your SBL lecture period. Repaying for FA. So you asked the question about FA, you had paid, would you need to pay again? Because it's on demand, you must have paid to a licensed CBE center. If that is Ivy League, that's not a problem. As long as you've not taken the exam, you can always contact the team and tell them when you are ready to take the exam. But I'm not sure whether you are in Nigeria or out of the country, because you have to be in Lagos at our center if it's Ivy League. You also talked about, is there a discount and what's the current exchange rate? I'm not sure about discounts, whether there's any active discount at this point for Nigerian students. But I think the exchange rate is currently is 890. Manager, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That ACCA has in place, which will probably apply for January.
It's 875. 875.
Okay, it's 875. Okay, all right. And is there any discount in force at this time? By ACCA?
None available for now.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Practicing license versus performance objectives. No, they are two different things. Signing off performance objective is a demonstration of the fact that you have gained the relevant experience to become a member of ACCA, and that's just being a member. Practicing license is for you to practice as an auditor, usually an assurance provider, and that requires some additional level of sign-offs. For example, I haven't worked in a company or a firm that has such practicing license for a minimum number of years. I think it's 3 years or 5 years. I'm not sure exactly. And then you obviously then applying for it. And the rules vary country to country. In the UK, you can get a practicing license under ACCA's name, but there are some other countries where that is also possible, as well, where ACCA is legally permitted. ACCA members are legally permitted to sign off audit reports or various other forms of assurance reports. And then you talked about how do you do your performance objectives and sign-offs and all those things. I can make a promise here that within this diet, I think it should happen within the next 2 months or so. We will have a session on my experience, that's PER, how to record your experience, how to target the relevant skills, what are the things you will do if you are facing a unique situation. If you've not started working, can I even get any experience if I've not started working in a corporate organization, and all the other information, bits and pieces around it. So we'll have a session, a webinar on that. Watch out for that. It will be publicized on our WhatsApp groups and on our social media pages, so you can register for that. And definitely it will benefit you, whether you are a current student or intending to start, or you have already completed your exams. Weekday versus weekend lectures. Yes, so we've got weekday lectures for knowledge papers. If you are unable to attend the weekday lectures, perhaps because you are also working or a current university student, then you can register for the weekend lectures. Weekend lectures are also available face-to-face and online, particularly for MA and FA. So you can join the online classes, which you can take from anywhere you are in the world. The only challenge is this. We standardized our weekend classes. So they are typically for people who want to write exams in March. That's the intensive class. And we don't have intensive lectures for knowledge module. It's only available for skill and professional. Then the other online classes are for those that want to write the exam in June. So most likely revision will start in May. And if you intend to write MA and FA in March, then the class may not be as fast as you want it to be. On the other side, our weekday classes are designed to run within a shorter period. In fact, between January and June, we normally have 2 streams of such classes. They are faster, more efficient, get students ready to sit their exam on time, and easily you can book your exam at Ivy League and write and pass, as the case is. So I guess that's the balance you would have to strike between the time you want to write your exam and your availability. And obviously you can engage further with manager on that via the numbers that you have in the chat area. Okay, so I think I've taken those that batch of questions. So at this point, I will just say, technically speaking, our open day has come to an end. Thank you very much for coming to this. But if you want to stay back to still listen to some of the other questions, we have here, please feel free to wait behind. I will take all the other questions we have here. So, Shegun, can you go ahead, please?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Inside present. I have 2 questions. I don't know if your presentation.
Sorry, Shegun, there's a problem with your. You can't hear you clearly.
Is it better now?
Yeah, but there's some noise. I don't know. Are you using some earpiece or connections? You may want to remove it.
Is it clear now?
By far better. Go ahead.
Okay, so I said I have 2 questions. Now, the first one is, I noticed in the course of your presentation, while talking about the different routes to ACCA qualification, I'm not sure, maybe it's my network or I didn't hear that part. There was nothing about people that have qualified, maybe ICANN or similar qualification, the route to follow, so that we can be more informed. I don't know if you can just gloss over that, or since this will be available afterwards, we can just, maybe if you have addressed it, then we can go back and check that. That is one. Then the other part is, this is personal, but I presume there are other people in this situation too. Now, for people who have qualified and then maybe in practice, and the main reason for writing this exam is partly because of, to fill in the knowledge gap, because when you're in professional practice, IFRS is the key. And then you feel like you have qualified. At the time you qualify, you are not in practice. So most of the things you did, you just did them, based on getting the theoretical knowledge. Now you need the practical knowledge, but then you are forgetting the theoretical knowledge. So in a way to use one stone to kill 2 birds, you don't want to do diploma in IFRS because you just get that. But then you want to do another qualification where you get both the certificate and then the theoretical experience. Now the question is, in your own opinion, do you think going with this objective, getting the ACCA qualification instead of doing the diploma in IFRS, do you think one will be able to achieve that objective, coming from this perspective?
Okay.
I think that would be all.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you. Precious, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for this session. It's been an insightful one. So I have 2 questions. The first one is as regards to the knowledge classes, especially for CBA or the corporate law. I've checked the website and I cannot find any information on the pricing the exams since they are on demand. So I don't know if you can help with that. And then second I will also want to ask, this is also personal to me. So for since the classes are starting in next week and the exam results will be out in the following week. So is it still possible? Because I just read some skills papers and would want to move on to professional. So I don't know what happens with the results, but then is it possible to still take those professional, register for the lectures and take the professional exams if maybe I have one or two skills papers that are outstanding? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Precious. Rukawa, go ahead.
Good afternoon. So I have two questions. I want to ask about weekend lectures. Like after weekend lectures, are there exercises to keep us busy during the week? That's the first one. Then the second one, you mentioned a lot about looking out for scholarships. I wanted to ask if there are specific platforms that we need to look out for these scholarships on. Those are my two questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I guess the next person is Yusuf. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. Good day, everyone. Yeah, actually, my question is in three forms. Number one is on, sorry if I digress, on CFA.
Just help us keep it concise and straight to the point, okay? But go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Number one is does Ivy League still take a CFA tutorial? Then number two is I was told that Ivy League or ACCA, I don't know, do revision for March diet. So I don't know. I'm not so clear about it. I've not done it before, so I want to get clearance on that too. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Yusuf. Collins, go ahead. Collins, you're on mute in case you're talking. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I asked two questions last time. But I didn't get
You've
the
asked
first
already.
one.
Sorry, what did you say?
The first question.
Yeah.
I asked on the webinar we had if we have the recorded this.
Oh yeah, I answered it. I said check our YouTube page by tomorrow, and you will see this session.
YouTube.
All of it. Okay. Yes, yes. So just check for Ivy League Associates.
Okay, sorry.
And look out for January 2023 open day.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I didn't get that when you answered.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
Yeah. Kehinde, go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Clearly.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I guess I missed the part where we talked about the BSc in applied accounting. So my question is, when will the registration with Ivy League start for the May submission? Because I think, if I'm correct, we have the next submission should be in May. So when would the registration with Ivy League start? So that's the question.
Okay.
Thank
you, Kehinde. And finally, Oluwatobi Loba. Toby, you may need to unmute. We can't hear you. Okay, looks like Toby is not ready to ask a question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, okay. Yes, we can hear you now.
Sorry, I want to ask if Ivy League gives what do you call it, study facts, like other tuition houses. Like
Okay.
a summary of the basically. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, all right. I will answer that as well. Thanks, everyone. So let's start with the ICANN uh, route. So yeah. I probably missed that out because that's a higher level qualification, right? So I think students who have ACA and are interested in writing ACCA will start from the professional level papers. So you will typically need to write and pass 4 papers in that regard. And to your question on diploma in IFRS versus ACCA qualification, if you are already an ACA, so I think there are two different things. Diploma in IFRS is specifically for IFRS. If you want to update your knowledge of IFRS and perhaps also have a certification in that area. So that's highly focused. The ACCA qualification is a whole lot broader. So I guess the key question will be, if I'm already ACA, are there benefits of doing ACCA or writing those 4 papers? Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think in terms of depth of knowledge and addition to the knowledge that you already have, you will certainly see that, and also the depth of testing of IFRS. So in fact, the SBR paper that we have at the professional level, strategic business reporting, is more detailed than diploma in IFRS paper. So you would actually have more depth of, IFRS and other corporate reporting related topics within that. And obviously, I mean, ACCA, as we've been saying throughout this session, is globally recognized. You never know where you can find yourself tomorrow. There's high level of mobility now in the labor market. So, I mean, the benefits are enormous, okay, in that regard. So if anyone is asking me that question, my answer is an outright yes. CBE exam fee. Yes, so manager, I don't know if you can quickly tell us what's the CBE exam fee for knowledge papers and for CBE and for CBL.
Due to the recent exchange rate increase, it's now 72,500 to write any of the knowledge paper, and it's now 7,500 to write the CBL paper.
All right, thank you. So it's so you can drop it as well in the chat area. And then you also asked, can I combine skill papers with professional papers? Yes, you can. You can always combine if you still have some skill paper left to write, but you also want to write it in addition to professional papers. You can do that. I think what you can't do is to move to professional level papers without having picked your final set of skills papers. And I think that rule still exists, and I hope you understand that. Okay. Assignments. Yes. So I moved to the course plan on our slide to pretty much show you a typical course plan. So what we expect, your tutors to do for your paper is to have identified the questions that you'll be doing in class. So if you look at this column D, you will see that these are questions that we're going to be solving in class for designated dates. Sorry, this date is for last diet. So we have got course plans for this diet already, and that will be shared with you on in your classroom material folder. So every student would have access to the class material folder, where study packs would also be soft copy versions of the study notes, which is one of the questions that was asked. But in addition to the study notes, the course plan will be there. And slides used by tutors at the end of every class would also be uploaded there. And I think link to pre-recorded lectures if there are some topics that the tutor believe you should have listened to before your class, so you also find the link there and things like that. So yes, there are assignments, weekly assignments, but the tutor for each paper will definitely drive how that will take place. Scholarship, yes. So we earlier on we talked about two types of scholarship. One from ACCA within Africa, and Thomas promised to provide us with more details in that regard. We will follow up with them. Once we get the details, we would also broadcast it on our social media platforms. So please follow us on our social media pages, and you can be rest assured that you will see those details there within the week. The other scholarship is the scholarship from Ivy League, and we also said that will be announced. I think that should be on Monday or Tuesday. So also will be announced on our social media platforms. So please follow those links, and you'll get the details and see the details there. But that is for tuition cost, while that of ACCA is for exam fees and all of that. CFA, yes, we did. We had CFA lectures for some diets, and we had to stop for about, I think it's over 2 diets now that we stopped. We did have CFA lectures throughout last year. The predominant reason was how do I put it, the scarcity of tutors, CFA charter holders who could also had teaching time, to their schedule. It was becoming increasingly difficult, and we did not want to collect student money and can't promise that we can deliver within the time available and to a high level of quality. So we had to suspend that because it was stretching our resources at that time. However, we have not stopped. We are still reviewing our plans to restart. So perhaps by next diet, you may hear from us, regarding commencement again of our CFA lectures. Then revision for March exams. No, we don't have any separate revision for March exams. What we have are the intensive classes, and that's what started today. It's pretty much for 7 weeks. March exams is just around the corner. So if you want an intensive revision course, then the classes that started this weekend is what you need. OBU registration, yes. So we did mention that there will be an open day for OBU early February. Again, specific dates and when it will happen will be announced on our social media pages and the WhatsApp groups. So please follow and continue to monitor that. So during the open day, you can ask all questions you have about your OBU and how you will execute to submit in May, as you rightly said. But you can register for OBU at any time. So if you need the registration link, please reach out to the admin team via the numbers. The numbers they are available on WhatsApp. Just request for it and they will send you the link. So you can register at any time, but the open day, which is really when the mentorship process starts, will be early February. Do we have study packs? There's someone that needs to be muted. Okay, so yes, we have study packs. In fact, when you asked your question, you said like other tuition centers do. I believe the other tuition centers are probably outside Nigeria, because I think we're the only one that gives updated and detailed study notes to our students. But nevertheless, we do have study packs for most of our papers, in fact, practically for all our papers, which are continually updated. But we are also adopting study materials that have been designed by ACCA, the Africa Study Hub, for some of our papers. So you may see a mix of what ACCA is providing to students that we have already made available in your learning portal, and that of the tutor, the Ivy League itself. So your tutors will guide you on how to use these resources for specific papers as you take lectures within your class. Thank you very much for waiting up till this time and for all your questions. I hope I've been able to take them. If you've got any further question, please feel free to reach out to the admin team. They will be happy to help you. And once again, thanks for joining our open day. Have a lovely year ahead. Have a lovely diet and enjoy your weekend. Bye bye.